High costs, says here, remain top of voters' minds as we get closer to the midterms. I guess that's true. Join us now to talk about the Trump economy and share the president's economic message. White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett. Everybody's going to lead with that, including us. But you're certainly going to hear it from mainstream media that affordability is on everyone's mind. Kevin, we did have a pretty good inflation number, the last one that came out, but oil prices went back up above 80. We had Tom Lee on. I don't know how much you follow him. He thinks that it's all about shelter costs that have actually been moderating, and that maybe we start getting better numbers, and maybe Kevin Warsh doesn't have to be as concerned about inflation. I guess you would share that viewpoint.
Right. Well, the inflation numbers have been fantastic the last couple of reports. And the thing about them is it wasn't a story of energy. It was really about everything else that President Trump has been doing. Like you saw, the prescription drug prices dropped a lot because of Trump RX and the most favored nation negotiations. And our dereg efforts are also putting a lot of downward pressure on prices. And so I think the question is it going to continue? And I think that you're right to highlight shelter costs. And one of the metrics of shelter costs that I find most interesting is that they're going down pretty rapidly in places like California because everybody's leaving. And so when we look at the aggregate numbers, the fact that it's actually, even though they're high prices in California, it puts downward pressure on inflation because shelter costs are such a big share of inflation and everybody's leaving the state.
Well, I mean, you actually hear, don't worry about electing socialists. Inflation's back above 3%. That's that's really the Democratic. We have a big tent, so we're really not worried about getting rid of the presidency and the Senate and all the prisons. But inflation's up 30 basis points to 3.1, whatever they use. Do you shake your head when you see that?
I got to say that if the socialists have their way, then the prices won't matter at all because the stores will be empty. That's what happens when you have socialism. And Joe, you'll remember when I was CEA chair before, we put out a chapter in the economic report of the president warning about socialism coming. And I wrote a book called The Drift, Stopping America's Slide to Socialism, because we could see it coming in the first term. And when we did that, when we put out the chapter, the Democrats went nuts and said we were the most partisan White House ever. Well, now they kind of wish they went back and read that chapter because this is what's happening to their party.
You know what else is an easy, a slam dunk to just show a chart of, and that's that. And I saw someone tweeted out that actually from a financial network that showing GDP coming down to 1.5%. It's like numbers are really good to use when you don't look behind the numbers, but. Right. We actually had Roger Altman on, who's a Democrat, and talked about 3.9% was maybe the number that was more appropriate if you think about all of the imports coming in for data centers. That's what lowered it to 1.5. What do you think the actual GDP is running right now?
Right. You're right. The final sales are the things, that's like what people in the U.S. are buying, final sales. And final sales 3.9 last quarter, but they're about that over the last year as well. And if you look at why final sales have come down or have been a bigger number than the GDP number, then there are really two reasons. One is we cut the heck out of government spending with DOGE, and the other is that we've been importing stuff for the data centers. And so between those two things, if you import a lot of capital goods, in fact, we have a measure we've started to follow, which is the quality of imports. And so if you're importing stuffed animals for the carnival, well, that's not a really good import. But if you're importing a capital machine that's going to produce output and jobs in the future, that's a really good import. Right now, the quality of imports is the highest it's ever been. And so what that means is that future GDP is going to benefit from all of those new factories and new machines.
If we look at manufacturing, these are fresh July reads from the ISM on manufacturing. Comes in much better than expected, 55.6. That would be the best read in over 4 years, since May of 22.
The numbers keep telling a story that the media doesn't want you to hear. For some reason, well, we all know the reason, they don't want you looking at the good stuff. They want you focused here. They want you focused on the poor peoples. They want you focused on things that basically don't, how can I say this without sounding elitist, without They want you focused on things that give you the least amount of hope moving forward. That's how I'll say it. They don't want people even looking at prosperity. They don't want people looking at the horizon and seeing, wow, it is getting better. They will blast it from the mountaintops that things suck. Everybody's broke, everybody's poor, affordability. But they never talk about how people can increase their income and revenue to become more affordable so other things can be afforded. And I'm not going in a prosperity show. Actually, I'm going just the opposite today. But when I see these kind of numbers, it just makes me smile. It makes me very, very happy. It's such a good outlook. If you're looking at doing certain things, if you're following the indicators, the vital signs, you understand healthy is happening. It is not doom and gloom. Let me just show you this today, right now. Actually, not right now, but the market has closed. Everything is green. Looking at the indicators, everything, the data CNBC reported, coupled with what you're seeing on your screen right now, the Dow surges nearly 700 points for, once again, this is the 22nd time. Understand that number. This is the 22nd time that the Dow has broken a record while President Trump's second term. 22 times. Anybody telling you that? Did you know that? Surges 700 points for record close as big tech stock rise, oil prices slide. This is very easy to keep a handle on. It's not hard if you just understand the fundamentals and lock in. If you lock into these fundamentals, you're gonna learn probably more than 70 or 80% of the people who aren't the billionaires and millionaires. But you too can participate and prosper and begin to prosper on whatever level it is if you just turn off the doomsayers. They don't talk about it. What's the thing they always say? Oh, the stock market's not relative to Main Street. Wall Street's not relative to Main Street. That's a bunch of bull. We're going to be talking about Main Street very, very shortly. Everything that's going on is tied to what's happening in the markets. What's happening in the markets is tied to what's happening right now to a great deal with Iran. And the people who are looking at Iran and saying taco and all these kind of things, they keep saying Trump always chickens out. They're not going to say that when he ends up bombing the hell out of them and all of a sudden there's dead babies and dead puppies all over the place. And then he's going to be a bad guy because he no longer chickened out. But whatever the outcome he decides to take at this point, because it's solely the outcome he wants and what he desires to make happen. You have to agree, whatever you feel, Iran has no say, basically, in their future. They can say whatever they want on Twitter. They can have the media say whatever they want, but their destiny is tied to that man sitting in the Oval Office. The eventuality of what happens over there in the Middle East is solely going to be determined by a group of people in that Oval Office. So, in that regard, the reason why I'm talking about these numbers today is because obviously the numbers went up because of President Trump called off the bombing. And so all of a sudden, everything goes up. Everything goes up on Monday because of what he does over the weekend. Next weekend could be completely different. Next weekend, he could bomb the hell out of them, and people are going to freak out for this long. You see, whatever happens in Iran, the eventuality is we are going to, one way or the other, control the flow of traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. We're either going to be working with Iran or we're going to take it over. So if you're sitting back, the only way you could be pessimistic right now, the only way you could be pessimistic is if you think we're not in control. And that's exactly what they're trying to tell you. They're trying to tell you President Trump doesn't know what he's doing. Oh, he's got no way out of this, because that'll lock you into poverty. And that'll make you look here instead of looking there. Because if you know it's just a matter of time, that's all we're looking at. It's a matter of time before this thing ends. And you've seen enough of the arrhythmic market right now. What happens? Something bad happens, it drops. He doesn't do it, it goes up. What is going to happen when there's no more question? When you don't have the arrhythmic looking market? What happens when that danger, that complete impediment is removed and everything is fine? We're controlling the strait. We've got the nuclear dust. It's no longer going to be any sort of threat. What do you think is going to happen? Conversely, you already know what's going to happen, because it has happened when Iranians were in control. So you already know your downside. If for some way the cards changed and all of a sudden President Trump had no power and no ability to handle what's going on over there, all we're going to be is back to February 27th. I don't think enough people look at that. The Iranians aren't going to shut down the Strait of Hormuz if they're in control. They're just going to make a lot of more money. And then, of course, they would get some weaponry and become a pain in the butt. It would be right back to February 27th. But February 28th happened, and ever since then, some people have been freaking out. Oh my gosh, what do we do? While other people are cashing in. 22nd time this market has broken a record. 22nd time. Manufacturing up. Consumer sentiment up. Moving into football season, which I'm going to show you also today, is a big deal, up. But you don't have to take my word for it. All of the data is available for you. Let me show you something to give you a really good indication of what I'm talking about. Because you can look at this chart here. And this is the oil prices today. Oil is down nearly 6%. But you can go back 6 months and you can see what oil was doing prior to February 27th. It was, where's 27? 28, right about there. That's where we were on February 27th. When everybody said Trump blew it and the war happened, on February 27th, that's what the number was, 67. And then, of course, you see as I mentioned, the arrhythmia of the market. You can see what's happening. But here's what's really interesting. If you go back 1 year, ooh, now we're talking. See, I kept it at February, that line. But before that, when Iran was still digging in and they were still doing nuclear stuff, and they were still trying to be a pain in the butt to Israel and you know, river to the sea and all that kind of stuff, the numbers were right there. It's about the same, a little bit lower. So we already know the downside. The downside is going to go back if for some reason they took control. Now, what's the upside? Because that's what we all want. We all want the upside. Again, skating to where the puck is going and understanding people who, I don't know, have amnesia since before February 27th. They can't even think about it. Now, here's the other thing in regards to the switch. When you're looking at this, you can see that things changed almost immediately. We're down here, not a lot of stuff is happening, and all of a sudden the war happens and boom, it goes up. It didn't take a long time. It peaked at, where are we going up here? $100 on April 1st. So in a span of basically 4 weeks, it exploded. What do you think the descent will be if we control everything? how fast will all those numbers come down? So if it's July, what is we? No, we're August 5th, and let's say it took, I don't know, a month or so for us to get under control. 4 weeks, 5 weeks from now, things should be where we need them to be, right before the midterms. Incidentally, if something were to happen this week or next week, what coincides with that 4 to 5 week term? Think hard. If President Trump were to do something this weekend, if they don't sign and be good boys and girls over there, given that 4 to 5 weeks that you think things would have to like basically bottom out, what is happening that would coincide with that 4-week time frame? So this Friday would be, I don't know, 8th or 9th, 10th. What is happening 4 weeks from that? Well, boys and girls, Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping will be coming to the White House. Coincidence? If things were so bad with China and it didn't look like this turmoil was going to end anytime soon, what do you think Xi Jinping would be coming to the White House on September 24th for? Again, skating to where that puck is going. Arguably, the two most powerful men in the world will be sitting down in the Oval Office. And I would love to be a fly on the wall. I would love to understand what they're going to be talking about, because I'm pretty sure what they're going to be talking about, none of the kooks in the media have any idea what these guys are going to do as they divide up the world. Now, I don't know. Some people, Barry, you got a tinfoil hat? No. The two most powerful men in the world, bar none. There is nothing anybody else can do if those two guys come to some meeting of the minds. If the two of them come in and say, this is what we're going to do, you can take that hemisphere, I'm going to take this hemisphere, you're going to get this much oil, we're going to get this much oil, thank you very much. In my mind, seeing all the parameters of what's happening, seeing how people are being aligned, seeing where AI is going, how they're looking, we're not going to take on China. We are not going to go toe-to-toe and go to war with China. Ergo, if we're not going to war with China, what the hell do you think is going to happen when these two men sit down? Think about it. They are going to come to arguably the biggest deal probably in world history. Then what happens with all the other stuff? Where everyone's worried about affordability and the socialisms and everything else. I'm waiting. I can't wait for it. I think you guys are going to see something. And if you just start looking, stop listening to the panicans and the doomers. Oh, it sucks. The polls say this, the polls say that. November's a long time away. A really long time away. That's if it even happens. There's still some doubt whether, there's some other irons in the fire. So there's so many different variables in play. If I was talking to that pollster guy, I would what polls are you taking right now? Are you asking people what would happen on September 24th if, Xi and President Trump host a glass of champagne and come up with a big deal? Are you asking people that? Are you asking them economically what would happen in the world if the two of them come to a major agreement? Are you polling that number? Are you polling what will happen with the independents when they see such prosperity available to them versus the crap that the socialists are trying to do? Are you polling that? Nope. They're not even looking at it. So I sit back in my little corner of the world here, and I talk to Robin, I talk to Ashley, talk to SV, and I'm like, you guys watching this? Are you guys seeing what's going on? The 22nd time in the midst of all this stuff that's happening, in the midst of a country that's in turmoil and there's no affordability and people can't afford to buy, pens. How in the hell did we just break the Dow record for yet the 22nd time. So you realize something doesn't add up here, don't you? You can absolutely hate President Trump, but the numbers don't lie. Something's happening. I posted it earlier, and it was funny how fast people get the lyrics. I was like, something's happening here. It ain't quite clear. I don't know what's happening, but I'm astute enough to look at the numbers and say, what we're seeing over here, what the numbers that we're seeing when you turn on this stuff doesn't match what we're seeing over here. I mean, it's like looking at two completely different movies, two different channels. It's like watching HBO and CNN News. Nothing, it's not matching. And so I figured when I talk to people, I want to show you the news that other people don't want you to see. They want you to, feast on the red meat. I like you to feast on the green meat and dig in and see what exactly is happening. It's for some people, for some reason, it's not as tasty. They like the red meat. They like to get mired into the crap. They like to get mired into what Tucker's doing and Candace is doing and MTG and Massey. And I'm thinking, does Massey ever talk about the numbers? Does MTG ever talk about the numbers? Does Tucker ever talk about numbers? Does Candace ever talk about numbers? Does Alex ever talking about numbers? And then as you ask yourself that question, and I'm not denigrating anybody, the question I want you to figure out is why? Why do all the big names mire in this and completely ignore that? Even though you have to know. And this is where it really gets interesting. Even though they don't talk about it, they're profiting from it. Or either that or they're the most obtuse people you'd ever want to meet. The most ignorant, financial, illiterate people you'd ever want to meet. And I don't think that's possible. You see, I have, because I look, I know other people must look. I'm like, you guys want to talk about it? Oh, no. We're going to talk about how Trump's corrupt and, how we're going to form our own party and we need the Epstein list. And why aren't you building people up? Why are you feeding them the slop? Why you got them rolling around in mud instead of saying, look what's going on. Look how great it is. Here's what could be happening. Are you going to position yourself for September 25th and beyond? That's the only reason why I talk about it, because I look at this stuff and go, something's happening here. What it is ain't quite clear, but something is happening. And you can spend your time being mired in all the minutia, or you can try to look at the big picture. And that big picture is what I believe the man in the Oval Office is painting. Because the only way that picture isn't rainbowish and bright is if he's completely inept. And if you believe he's completely inept, then the country is cooked. Me personally, I think the guy knows what he's doing, and I think the future looks bright as hell. Really, really bright. I mean, like, gonna need shades to walk out at night, kind of bright. Like Alaska type sun, where it just shines all the time. 22 times the market has broken the record. And if you go back in history and look at how many times has the record been broken in such a short period of time, you'll get your answers if you know where to look. And so I'm not going to spend any more time on the numbers. I want to get that to you guys, let you look, let you do your own research, go listen to people, plug into their show, and just listen and see, you guys got anything good for me? I mean, I understand this stuff is fun. It's dirty. I can wallow in it. I'm going to wallow in some here too in a little bit. but are they giving you this stuff? The stuff that you just went, oh yeah, now I'm ready to dig in. That's all I'm trying to say, just to help you out there. All right, so sorry I was late today. We got storms everywhere going on around here, so I had to try. I was trying to wait until I was going to go on at like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and it kept raining and kept lightning and kept thundering, and I kept pushing and pushing, and even when I decided to go on at 5, it was still thundering. But I think the worst of it is past for the time being. It's funny down here when you look at the radar, because the storms down here move very, very quickly. I mean, you could be across the street and it pouring, and then over here it's sunny. It always freaked me out living here in Florida. I'm like, what kind of weather is this? How could it be raining right there? Literally. I'm not kidding you. It could be raining across the street, and you're just like, this doesn't make any sense. And all of a sudden, boom. Crazy. All right, so sorry about being late. Got a whole bunch of stuff for you. We're going to break in a little bit. I got some stories I want to show you first, but then President Trump signed an executive order in the White House today. But that wasn't the news. He spent, let's see, probably 12 minutes on the executive order. And then he spent 40 minutes answering questions. I don't know why he just didn't call a press conference and then signed the thing afterwards, because everybody was there. It's like, yeah, hurry up. Yeah, okay. Questions, please. Yeah, we got questions. And he went on for 40 minutes. And it's going to be interesting to see, for you guys to see how he closed that if you haven't seen it yet. But before then, I'm going to get you to a couple other stories, some really quick stories. And we'll talk about that. Let me check with SV, see if he's got anything before we get going. What's up, my brother?
Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
I got my boy clandestine first, cut number 3. I like that one first.
All right.
Just posted.
My
You had one this morning, but that was hours ago. This one is about Fauci.
So as of right now, has Judge Janine been fired?
I haven't seen anything, but it was reported that she showed up at the West Wing in the White House not too long ago.
All right, so
maybe she's out there to give him a piece of her ear, because she's a tough bird, man. I could see her coming in. What are you talking about?
No. Gonna have to abort. Have to abort your cut 3. Gonna have to.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, because the story in the bottom. Story at the bottom. I mean the video. Okay.
I'll get that when I get to that part of the show.
Got you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so
it's all tied together, Barry. It's all tied together.
I know it. It's all tied together, and I've been saying it over and over. And I don't want people to think we're like being secretive here, but it's part of the show.
Yeah.
And when I get to it, you guys are going to go, OMG. All right, so let me go to.
We got two others.
All right, let's look at number 1 here. Is this
all right? So
this one.
You remember this activist judge? She was ignoring the Supreme Court ruling for the mass forced mass migration from Somalia. Well, apparently articles of impeachment have just been filed against her for ignoring the Supreme Court ruling and attempting to force mass migration from Somalia into our American communities. Andy Ogles says, America is not Africa's dumping ground. We will end temporary protected status, remove those who have no lawful right to remain, and put the sovereignty of the American people first. Act on this now, bring it to a vote, and finally hold the judges accountable. She subverted the Supreme Court by blocking President Trump from ending temporary protected status for Somalis. I mean, you look at her too. They always look so miserable. They're unhappy. She's probably making a ton of money, but she's so unhappy.
When you read that sentence, that one before Elon Musk, and it says she subverted the Supreme Court. Why isn't the Supreme Court stepping in and giving her the old, backhand? That's the part I don't understand. Why is it Trump's battle to fight? Why do we have to go through this process and everything else? Don't they have like a regulatory board that can step in and go, no, you can't do that. You can't even. Again, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's one of those things I believe that the left has investigated and realized overrule the Supreme Court, and it'll take them months or weeks before they can do anything. Right. So it's crazy.
More roadblocks. They know they're not going to win, but they know they're slowing him down. That's all they care about.
That's all they care about.
So anyway,
and
yeah, hopefully she gets impeached and she'll be a good example for the rest of those idiots.
So what's this
and
one?
then this story is big. So a federal court, let's go back to courts here, has just blocked New York's law that bans face covering and assists the doxing of federal agents, citing the supremacy clause. Another win for ICE. So Democrat states have zero authority, here we go, to subvert the Constitution and obstruct federal law enforcement who only have to mask up because of leftists. I mean, this is common sense, folks. But, the left, they're not common sense people.
No, and I contend at this point, what we're seeing with the left is complete agonal breathing. I know the pollsters try to say one thing, but I think these people are dead men walking. I really do. I don't think the numbers are correct. I don't think this nation wants socialism. And when I start hearing people like Stephen A. Smith, Bill Maher, I guess that's how you say his name, and even Carville going, nope. If this is who you are, we're out. And that, to me, people should be looking at that almost like a thermometer going, something's wrong here. The temperature doesn't look right when you got some of the biggest lefties saying, nope, ain't going to do it. That should be a warning light of some sort to talk about that. But they're not doing it. And I think it's going to be just a complete problematic time for the left at this point. So I don't know.
I have a quick update. You remember El Sayed, the guy that's running for the Democratic Senate primary? He's a shoo-in. They got a day left. Apparently, Polymarket has its odds up to 98% chance. So it looks like the socialist takeover of the Democratic Party is going to continue.
But that, just so you clarify, that's for 98% on the Democrat primary.
Polymarket.
But I mean, it's
for the primary.
Because I think Mike
Democrat.
Rogers. Mike Rogers. I think he's gonna be up 5 or 6 points or more, running against him. But I mean, what do we expect? They did their plan. They turned Dearborn and some of those other cities over there into complete, hotbeds of craziness, and now you reap what you sow. And it's unfortunate for the people of Michigan who aren't into this crap, but you didn't do enough to stop it. Y'all should have been the one out there protesting, not the crazy ones. I want my state back. Too late.
Well, he's helped out all the black folk, giving out all that free stuff, that Narcan, right? I mean, come on, man.
That was him. Yeah, I'm going to give you some
Narcan. That's why I brought that up.
It'd be all right.
Bring that story up. Hopefully, you bring that up eventually.
All you drug dealers out there, we're gonna take care of you. Make sure you're okay. Oh, how insulting. All right, let me go. I got a whole bunch of stuff to get into. All right, so guys, we're going to go into a whole bunch of stuff here. Before I do, let me tell you about Lear Capital, one of today's sponsors. Have you ever looked at one of today's biggest investment stories, like I was just showing you, and thought, boy, I wish I'd gotten in on that sooner? Maybe it was AI. Maybe it's oil futures. Maybe it was SpaceX, even though they're not doing as well as people thought, but that's even got a little codicil to it as well, because the IPO went up and down. Just watch. It seems like by the time the rest of us hear about an opportunity like these things, the biggest gains have already happened. But what if the next opportunity isn't the headline? It's what's making the headline possible. I'm talking about silver. Silver is a critical material behind the AI revolution. It's used in technology that powers data centers, advanced electronics, robotics, and the infrastructure AI depends upon. And if AI keeps growing the way many people expect, demand for silver could grow right along with it. And here's the thing, you don't want to be learning about this after everyone else catches on. Remember, silver prices are still expected to hit $150 an ounce. As of today, it's about 59 or 60 bucks. That's why I want you to get a copy of Lear Capital's free report. That report that you guys can actually go ahead and download. I think I have a copy of it here. You can download it. It's called the AI revolution. It explains why so many investors are taking a closer look at silver and what could be driving the demand in the years ahead, not just the next couple of months. Call Lear Capital now at 800-601-5430 to get a free copy of this report. Doesn't cost you a dime. And while you're on the phone, ask how you could qualify for up to 20 grand in bonus silver. I've owned silver for years because I believe in having tangible assets, not that paper stuff, as a part of a diversified strategy. Actual silver, and I think, I got a gold one here too, a little smaller. This one's gold, this one's silver. Whether you decide it's right for you is based upon your decision, but at least get the facts before you make that decision. Call 800-601-5430, 800-601-5430, or go to learberry.com. You want to get that information so that you can make the right decision regarding your personal investment. All right, be back very shortly.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
It's time for a Fanfare news update.
How are you going to keep people from taking advantage of that, that deal, basically? And is there going to be a limit on the number of items that someone can take that are discounted at that level from that essential basket?
So our RFP makes very clear that this is a program for New Yorkers to be able to put food on the table, not a program for people to be able to make a quick buck through reselling. I'm going to pass it over.
All right, so I'm going to stop there for real quick. If you notice the term he used, he says RFP. An RFP is a document, a brief, something you hand to somebody. It's called a request for proposal. They are right now putting out proposals for other people to run these stores. And it was that's how we heard it. Just, oh yeah, in the RFP, it says this. What RFP? Can we get a copy of that? Because now you're telling me that somebody else is now going to be involved and getting paid by the city, because obviously they're not going to be doing it for free. So you got somebody who's going to be orchestrating this under the guise of an RFP to manage these great grocery stores. Now, the second part about that is it has come up and bubbled up where people are talking about this and saying, you're going to be selling this stuff for 30% off or more, depending on somebody's ability to pay. You know, that's the whole thing with the Democrats and the socialists, you know, according to what you can do. So what happens if, you know, Sheila walks in and she buys a couple of steaks, and these steaks are, you know, you get about 6 or 7 steaks and they're 30% off. And Sheila puts up a sign outside of her, you know, little co-op saying, hey, I got steaks for like $5 here. I paid like $1 for them. You get it for $5. I make $4 a steak. And now they're going to put in safeguards so you can't do that. So I own this television and this remote. I own this. I bought it. I think it might have even been on sale at Best Buy. And you're telling people you're going to go into this store and buy something. Buy connotates ownership. But you're going to tell people the item that they buy and take ownership of, they cannot dispose of in any way, shape, or form as they please. How's that going to work? How are you going to tell Shaniqua and Abdul if they buy 5 steaks, they can't sell 4 of them to whoever they want? They paid you, or they swiped the EBT card. They now own it. It's in their bag. They walk out. How are you going to tell them they can't sell it? Under what legal authority does a mayor and a city tell people if you shop here, you can't resell the goods that you purchased? I guess you can't use the word purchased. You know, every single one of us that has a computer, and we have Microsoft and we have different things, I wonder if you guys all know you don't own that software. You don't own Windows, even though you bought it. Even though you might have Intuit or QuickBooks or something, you don't own it. That was the way that Microsoft and some of these companies made billions, because they put in that thing, the terms of service and everything else. You don't own it. We're giving you the license to use it. You can't trade it. So, ergo, are we about to see the first time ever where they're going to license food? Which is kind of weird, because we keep using our computers. Once that steak either gets eaten or thrown away or goes bad, it's not worth anything. But I just wanted to give you that, no pun intended, that food for thought. What do you mean I can't sell it? I bought it. I bought a lawnmower. I bought some dishes. I bought a hat. If my neighbor wants to give me $10 for it, who the hell are you to say I can't sell it? Oh, and how are you going to track that sale? I walk in, I grab 5 steaks, I go home, get on the subway, head back to my neighborhood in the Bronx, and I go, steaks for sale? How the hell are you going to know? Then, how are you going to enforce it? You going to arrest me for selling steaks? The little things that people say, you have to really hone in. But that's not even the fun part.
Over to our EDC head, J-Pack, to add some additional details.
Yes, if you look at our RFP for the operator, we are looking to make sure.
Did you hear that? If you look at our RFP for the operator, oh, we're not even going to be running these stores. That's a big thing, because now there's a little buffer between Mamdani's office and the actual store. They've now inserted an operator who's going to be running this. I can't wait to see how they pick that.
That we target New Yorkers, whether it be at sort of a library card-esque thing, and also we manage who's buying, and that is focused on everyday New Yorkers. So we are mindful of that, and so we're going to make sure that we have all the things in place to ensure that that does not happen.
Democratic senator.
Okay, hold on. So we've been told, I can't even know how many times, about the Save America Act, that people, the poor peoples, it's an impediment upon them to get ID. They just can't possibly find any way to get ID. They're too poor. Even if it takes 5 years in between elections, they're too poor. They can't get ID. But now you're telling me to go buy the 30% off steak, I need an ID to come into the store. And there's nobody on the left bitching about that. That means a whole bunch of black peoples and poor peoples can't eat because they don't have ID, right? That's the argument you've been giving everybody. The poor peoples can't get ID. So if you can't get an ID, you can't go into the store, which you are paying for, which you own, assuming you're paying any level of taxes, because this isn't a private business. It's being funded with your tax dollars, and we're not going to let you in to eat and get any sort of groceries unless you have an ID that shows you belong here. Is this a freaking country club? Is it the Mamdani Golf Club, where you're going to restrict membership and tell people, sort of like we're going to be like the New York version of Costco. You got to have an ID card. You got to have a membership, which is a whole different thing. No, they didn't say membership, but they might as well could have. You can't shop here unless we know who you are. Oh, so now, in addition to everything else, now you're going to be collecting data. I can go into the Publix right down the street from me, walk in, and other than using my credit card, nobody's checking my ID saying, I don't know, you've been here 4 or 5 times this past week. Every time you come in, you bought a bottle of wine or a 12-pack. I think you have a problem. Go F yourself, Mr. Publix. Now you're going to have to prove your identity. And in addition to your identity, you have to prove where you live. Huh? Is this a grocery store? Am I hearing this right? If we have friends, Ashley and the kids come from out of town, and she's in North Carolina, but she goes to our local grocery store, she can buy whatever she wants. They don't care that you're not from here. You can just walk right in. Doesn't matter if you dropped in from Mars, and as long as you got some way to pay for it, they're going to let you buy whatever you want. No, not the Mamdani store. We're going to make it so only the people we know, because we checked their IDs, can even shop here. I don't think they've thought this out. Furthermore, now they got another problem I want to show you. This is very interesting here. Listen to this.
Frustration appears to be building from several different directions. Democratic leaders in New York City's outer boroughs say they believe that Mayor Zohran Mamdani is ignoring them, and one borough president even suggests that the Democratic Socialist of America is a racist group. Queensboro President Donovan Richards shared a 2021 survey by the DSA on X, claiming that 85% of members are white. The DSA says a more recent survey last year shows that number is now 66%. Regardless, Richards wrote on X, quote, "White supremacy comes in all forms." Here's Democratic City Council member Oswald Felice talking about the DSA.
This is a city that is very diverse, and any group that doesn't have the diversity that we generally see in every part of the city, whether it's in our schools or in our neighborhoods, I think that on its own raised this many questions.
Oh, so that Democrat who's in New York, it says the black peoples are upset here. You got too many white people in your socialist community here. Like, oh, I don't have enough popcorn for what's happening. We're supposed to be losing the midterms. We're supposed to be losing the midterms against people who don't understand what they're doing against these socialists, who ain't got any money. The whole DNC is broke. And we're supposed to lose to these people. Excuse me. The whole racist, fascist thing has now taken on a completely different angle.
Andra, there is also frustration that Mamdani prioritized a beautification project on Park Avenue, but neglected a similar project in the Bronx. Councilman Felice tells Fox News that Mamdani gave his community, quote, crumbs, and he hopes the mayor will do more to actually help disadvantaged New Yorkers. Felice says that his community deserves more than just rhetoric and words from Mamdani. The mayor's team didn't respond to Fox News, but he did say earlier today his administration is always looking for ways to invest in outer boroughs like the Bronx.
Kind of late, isn't it? Now you got the black people's upset with you. This guy, you can tell at this point, is in way over his head. He had all these socialist ideas. He thought he would execute it, but you're excluding people, and now you can't go in unless you have an ID, and we're going to have an operator run these things who's going to do it on our behalf, and you can't sell the stuff that you actually buy. Good luck. Good. The day the doors open on this thing, they probably will close almost immediately with the amount of lawsuits that will probably happen. You can't do the stuff that he wants to do legally. He is creating little individual Mamdani, I don't know what you want to call them, country clubs. But it's funny, Ashley and SV sent me this same meme, and it's too funny. It's an actual AI mock-up of Mamdani's communist knockoff 7-Eleven grocery store. Oh, boy. That's kind of rough. 9/11 ID required. Wow. This is too juicy, too juicy.
You know, we are looking at every different avenue that we have to invest in the Bronx. And when we're thinking about these kinds of moments.
When Democrats, just so you know, when Democrats talk about invest, run. Invest means take more of your money and spend it. I don't know about you. I know a bunch of you. But when you guys or I invest, we expect a return. We expect there to be, something that happens, whether it's 2% or 30%, we expect a return. When they say invest, all it means is we need to collect more of your dollars so we can spend it.
Where we're investing in the housing here in the Bronx, but also in investing in youth programming across the Bronx and across the city.
But not everybody feels that way. Another Democratic council member, Eric Dinowitz, told Politico that basic outer borough needs, like installing stop signs, for example, are being ignored under the Mamdani administration.
It's a nightmare. I was waiting for this to happen. We knew that the good old boys down on Mulberry Street would start complaining. We knew that the Irish in Hell's Kitchen would start bitching up a storm. But I didn't know it was going to be this quick that the brothers in the other boroughs were going to have a problem. He's got big problems here. And the only thing they can do is continue to, wave the socialist banner.
Or Joe Manchin. Could you ever support a self-described socialist candidate?
No.
No way. My God, no.
And even if they have some good ideas?
I support the good ideas, but how could you support some of the crazy stuff they're for? Have you seen their platform? They're for just dismantling everything that we know, whether it be the structure of government, Congress itself, or the Senate they want to get rid of. And then they start talking about all the crazy things. No police, no this, no that. Are you crazy? We want a crime-free area. We have to have police for that.
Yeah.
We want a strong defense. We want a strong border. But if Democrats can't say that, and they start lining up with the socialist demands of what you are to be a socialist, energy will be gone.
So we might be playing that soundbite for.
We need to learn how.
If you've lost people like Joe Manchin, Bill Maher, who was the other one I said? Stephen A. Smith. You losing these people. His word, are you crazy? Oh, they're crazy. They're extremely crazy. Let me show you some crazy.
Start breaking the law and getting away with it. We need to start learning how to use our union and use our power as workers, not as some bureaucratic organization, but
your power? You're in mommy's basement. You need a haircut, maybe even a shower. And I don't even know which way you swing, if you know what I mean. Power? Who the hell does this kid have power over?
Really use that power. And the UO student worker strike did a lot of that shit. We did a lot of militancy. We did a lot of direct action. We broke a lot of rules, and we won. YDSA, through our student worker program, can really push forward the politicization, especially of the higher education labor movement. Hold
on. It hurts. It hurts to sometimes listen to these people. The higher education labor movement. What the hell is that? College dummies? Who the hell is the higher education labor movement? They're just making stuff up and coming up with different ideas on how they can capture and create more little commies.
Our program is succeeding. Other unions in higher education are looking to us for direction and for leadership, and we can be there to provide it for them.
I've been into a lot of organizations. I've been in a lot of clubs. But if I ever walked in and this is the guy I'm looking to for leadership, I think it's time to check my hat and get the hell out of here. That's who these groups are looking to for leadership.
As a strike leader, I was proud to have SJP picketing on our picket line, and I got so much shit for that, but it was the right thing to do. And I was proud as a member of our bargaining team to fight really fucking hard for our contract to expire, for us to be able to go on a May Day 2028 general strike. And I've also worked very recently to get my union in coordination with various other community unions to really start preparing for that general strike.
All right, so sorry about his language, but the whole thing behind what these guys are talking about is complete disruption. They keep talking about taking over the means of production. What they really mean is let's just complete anarchy. Let's cause complete chaos. Let's do whatever we can to get other people to buy into our crazy crap. And the more people we can get to buy into our crazy crap, more unions, Randy Weingarten and all those people, the more anarchy we can cause. And I'm going to show you some of that anarchy stuff here in real quick.
So I do think that through the student worker program and through YDSA, we can provide a political lens to the labor movement.
I want to ask you, do you think that there's a lot of...
Now, this guy here, I forget his name, Moskowitz, I believe. I think that's his name. He's a Jewish Democrat. And again, you're seeing this fracture. You think it's bad on our side with Massey and MTG. You ain't seen nothing yet. You got these people in the Democrat Party like, no, we can't have this. We can't possibly have this stuff.
Overlap between traditional Democrats such as yourself and the Democrat socialists that are giving the establishment a run for its money?
Well, obviously, I'm a very proud, common-sense Democrat, and I don't think DSA members are Democrats. They're socialists, right? And I'm all for them having their own party if they want one, but if they're trying to take over our party, that's unacceptable to me. And their values, their ideas, and are certainly not in line with ours, and they don't...
See, now we've heard so many Democrats over the years talk about our values. Our values are this, our values are that. But now we are seeing that they actually do have some values, some of them realize we can't go down this road. We can't be this way. This is bat poop crazy stuff these people are talking about. And it's amazing to me that some of the Democrats, just so they can hopefully get more votes, are willing to go around and supplicate themselves to these people.
Support our leadership. They're trying to use the Democratic Party as a vessel for their ideas. And as you heard in some of these conventions, literally they're supporting the Communist Manifesto and Trotsky. They're anti-American. They're anti-cop. They don't believe in borders, and frankly, the good news is there's only about 150,000 of them registered, and there's 45 million Democrats. And so we should make it very clear that they're not Democrats and they're not welcome in the Democratic Party. So
can you imagine if the Mamdani 9/11 store, if people start shoplifting in them and they start calling police to arrest the shoplifters? Talk about some serious mind melding here. Wait a second. You're calling the police on people? They're stealing. No, there's no such thing as stealing. He needed it. He didn't have the 70% to pay for the 30% discount. He had to have it. That's what we've also been told by AOC and some of these people. There is no private property. If it's only stuff, don't worry about it. If Fred needs it and he has to steal, don't arrest him. Give him a $900 credit line. Let him walk into the store and steal. It's up to $900. Don't call the police. This is there needs to be a documentary film crew that sets up in the street right outside of the first 9/11 market and see for themselves how this is going to turn out, because they're going to test them. There are going to be the bad guys who, wait a minute, I know you guys don't have guns. You probably don't have cameras. You probably don't have any alarms because you don't want to call the police. See, all these things, as a bad guy, I'd be thinking. So this guy has already advocated not putting people, we're over-incarcerated. So I'm going to go here and steal all these steaks. And I got to see what they're going to do. Give me a ticket? I don't think like I said, they've thought this out. Your entire brand is defund the police. And wait till there's somebody who's not supposed to be here. Now, one of those, newcomers decides to walk in and steal something. Now you can't call the police and you can't call ICE. What are you going to do when he's got a bag full of steaks and he's walking out the door? Film that. Somebody film that, please. We should revitalize the show Cops and put them right outside Mamdani's 9/11.
Populism is now on the ballot across America. So how did we get here? Let's start back in 2016. Bernie Sanders is running for president. He starts this nationwide movement. Instead of just ripping it apart, the Democrats force him out of the race, and then we know what happens from there. They did the same thing in 2020, by the way. 2018, AOC takes down an establishment Democrat, Joe Crowley. He was a part of the leadership, chairman of a committee. She takes him out. In 2025, they needed more reinforcement. No one thought he could win in New York City, but Mamdani wins with the help of social media. And if you look at the Democrats, because of all of the splits, they feeling like the establishment not representing them, 48% of Democrats say that they feel that their party has betrayed them.
You can run a...
But we're supposed to lose to that, huh? When half the people in the party feel betrayed and they've allowed this to fester like a bad tumor for the last 9-10 years. They saw Bernie, they saw AOC. This wave has been coming across the water and they ignored it. They thought they could contain it. They thought they could control it. Nope. Didn't happen. Now you're stuck, and half the people in your party don't like what they see, and they're not giving you any money. And so please, please tell me how we're supposed to lose to this broken party, this broken apparatus called Democrats at this point, who Morning Joe and Mika, they hate it. And it just keeps, they can't win without the media and social media. And if you start getting people like Morning Joe and Mika, and you're going to start seeing it bleed over to some of the other networks, and these people who make millions of dollars are going to have to start looking side-eye and basically begin promoting the establishment candidates. They're going to get pushed. And then it's going to just be one big clash. Meanwhile, if we get our act together, just shut the hell up, trying to be one up on Trump, then we would win in an absolute landslide. Makes you wonder why these people are stirring up crap when again, we're on the 1 yard line ready to take it in.
Or you can run your mouth. And a lot of these Democratic Socialists of America are running their mouth. Look, AOC rose from being a bartender to defeating a longtime incumbent. She should be commended for that part of her American dream. But here's what's difficult for AOC. For President, AOC is not okay. She's a communicator, but she's not a legislator. She lost within her own party 131 to 84 when she dared run for the Oversight Committee ranking member. She lost to Jerry Connolly handily. She introduces things like Green New Deal was defeated 57-0. She introduces income inequality stuff. It gets defeated or it doesn't get a vote. So I think the managers of the world are also saying you can't just talk. You can't just pontificate. You have to legislate. You have to appropriate. You have to do stuff other than post on social media. And the other thing about AOC, I just want people to know because she doesn't want you to know. She talks about socialism here and there, but she's been an establishment girl since she got elected in 2018. She voted for Nancy Pelosi for Speaker twice. She voted for Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker twice. She doesn't like being on the fringes, so she wants to have it both ways. Flying around on private jets to talk about socialism is hypocritical, but
hypocritical. I mean, that's an understatement. Her and Bernie defended it. What do you expect me to do? Fly around like I got to go to like 4 cities a week. I can't just take commercial air flight. It says an elite. I'm sure there's many businessmen and salespeople who fly around on commercial jets going from city to city that they have to do as part of their jobs to sell stuff. But Bernie's like, you can't expect us to do that. And so they're flying around, Elizabeth Warren, AOC, on private jets, staying in the most fancy of hotels. It's so non-socialist, don't you think?
Also is not an accomplishment. Flying is an activity. It is not an accomplishment. So as a legislator, she's been very unremarkable.
I want to get you on the Democrats. I don't know if you heard it, but last hour we...
All right. Now, we've mentioned Bill Maher. We've mentioned Stephen A. Smith. I can't even remember who else. What's his name? Carville. Of all these prominent Democrats, you're like, screw these people. Well, here's one more.
Kind of a lengthy discussion about
they
whether
are
the
bullshit.
party...
The Democrats are bullshit.
Would you stop with the... You're worse than Trump now. So the Democrats, they have this opportunity.
I was quoting Abdul El-Sayed.
Right. So Michigan, they have this opportunity, right, to win back the House, which they're slightly favored to do, but also to win the Senate if they go +4. Michigan, they really got to keep Michigan as a blue state to do that. And this guy, Abdul El-Sayed, who is a progressive, far-left guy, is now opened up like a 15-point lead over the more moderate Haley Stevens, who he's running against. So if he wins, a lot of the establishment Democrats are like, oh boy, this could be trouble, because Mike Rogers is a pretty strong candidate for the Republicans, could easily beat him and is ahead in some of the polls against him. So anyway, the big picture here is not just Michigan. There's some stuff going on in Wisconsin and other places. Are the Democrats?
Oh, have you seen the woman they're running for governor in Wisconsin? The woman who used to cut herself and inflict, harm and pain to her own body, who is, investigated and put into like Nuttyville houses a couple times, and they're running her for governor. She's failed in business. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, absolutely crazy.
Democrats kind of blown it by moving too far to the left with some of these candidates.
I certainly think so. I think that the biggest political move in the 6 weeks I've been sort of out of touch. The biggest move has been the erosion, to me, of the centrist Democrats. The establishment Democrats are almost powerless now.
Yeah.
They're almost powerless now, or so it seems. They've acquiesced to these people, and these people have just trampled all over them. And so as you're seeing what we would consider prominent establishment Democrats, and some who are celebrity at that, begin to make the turn away from these people. I'm not down with this, which coincidentally, I don't know, they're all people with money. And I knew this was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen, because there's no way the Geraldos and Stephen A. Smith and Bill Maher and all these people who have lots and lots and lots of ducats are looking at these socialists. See, it's easy to be a Democrat when it doesn't really matter. For the last couple decades, it really hasn't mattered. I mean, in the big scheme of things, it really hasn't mattered who's been president. I mean, think about it, for sure. Biden's really screwed up, but down to the common everyday person, it really hasn't mattered much to them, especially when they could afford the extra food costs. They could afford the extra housing costs. They can afford the extra gas. But if they drive, they've pretty much been, politically agnostic. It doesn't really matter. I'll support you because you're going to make sure I'm okay. I know that. I'll wink at you. We know they never changed the tax code. They know that they never changed the insider trading laws. They know they never do anything that's really going to affect all of them. Not the basketball players, not the football players, not the entertainers, not the pundits. You're making 7 and 8 figures a year. You're in there, as George Carlin said, you're in that club, and we ain't got a ticket. And it never changes. Tom Cruise makes $20 million, $30 million a movie. He doesn't care. Yeah, I don't care. Biden, Obama, Trump, no big deal. But these people scare them. As well they should. These people, have made it known they're going to eat everybody right out the bat with this pied-à-terre tax. And people, you saw yesterday on my show, the guy who supported Mamdani is pissed off because he got doxxed. How dare you? How dare you come after me? I know I got 150 million, but you're not supposed to do that to me and Bobby De Niro and Ellen DeGeneres and on and on. And Tay-Tay, no, you're not supposed to do that. They found out very clearly they don't give a crap about you. They are coming for you. One of the worst mistakes that these socialists could have done was Mamdani publicizing and putting that list out there in the public as his own little hit list. Because it was at that moment that every single one of them who have considered themselves politically untouchable, nothing's ever going to change in our life. And I don't know if you guys have ever really thought about it. It doesn't matter who's president, they were never going to be touched. So it was easy to get up on a soapbox and say, I want Biden, he's the best ever, or whatever, yeah. George Clooney, hey, he's the best ever, he's great. Doesn't matter. I got 300, 400 million. I don't care. Nothing's going to change. They knew they wouldn't rewrite the tax code. How do they know? Because they're the same way. Republicans and Democrats. And somebody told you that. Somebody looked you right in the eye on television and told you that, and you voted for him. When Hillary talked about President Trump's tax returns and how he had paid his taxes or didn't pay his taxes, he looked in the screen and said, you're not going to do anything because I pay you. I've given you donations, and my accountant is smart. We all do it, Hillary. You're no different. You and Bill, we're all in the same boat. I've been there. I've been at the dinners. I've been, he told her. That makes me smart. You remember that? Remember that when they were coming after him? That was the answer, and nobody could come back at him at that point. That makes me smart. Ooh, okay. That's right, because I know what you're doing. You know what I'm doing. You know what Magic Johnson's doing. Everybody's doing it. It's like a Mel Brooks routine. And now you've got these upstart crazy kids talking about, we're going to eat them all for lunch. Can't have it. So tell me how we're supposed to lose. Tell me how this is going to be the demise of MAGA and the Republicans when every single person who's in the Democrat, who's in the upper echelon of things is like, nah, this ain't happening. Why do you think they're broke? Besides the fact that Scott Bessent is watching every wire transfer, why aren't they flush with all the rich Democrats? Fauci talked about Barbra Streisand, Julia Roberts. We know about Clooney. How could they possibly be broke? Except for the fact of y'all toxic now. I don't know what's going on with your party, but why the hell would I give you money so that these socialists can get in there? How are we supposed to lose? Doesn't look like a loss coming to me. And I'm trying to look at every single variable, and I try to let you guys look at every single variable and the anomalies that you're seeing from past elections. You have to sit back and say to yourself, something's different. Something's happening here. It ain't quite clear. Something is happening. And I keep saying that to myself over and over. That doesn't look right. That's not what we used to see. I'm not used to seeing these people complain. We know the Democrats as one lock, stop, barrel of people who are going to do whatever it took 100%. And now we're starting to see, for the first time I can remember, some fraying. They were the ones that could count on 100-0 every single vote. Not now. Something's wrong. Something is definitely happening. And if you look at the right people and listen to what they say and look at their faces, these are the people they counted on. Where's Beyonce? Where's Jay-Z? Jay-Z lives in New York. How come he ain't out there with Mamdani? It ain't like it was. What do you got, brother?
Hey man, did you hear the news that Rosie O'Herpes is going to come back to The View?
I'm gonna have to watch and tape that show again. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe.
Well, she had her face done. She had some work done, but it was all a stunt. You know, she left to go to Ireland because she had TDS. She had to leave. She has, just like all of them. They have to be relevant. They need to come back. You know, if it weren't for Trump, she wouldn't be making any money. So prosperity for her. Give her credit.
Exactly.
There you
go. Cut 4, I can go to. Cut 4, I can go to. Cut 5, we're gonna have to hold off on.
Okay, that just came. So you got that one too, huh?
Yeah.
Man, great minds keep thinking alike, Barry. I can't help it.
All right. What do you got here? What's this one?
All right. So earlier today, Trump posted the inset there on his Truth Social. I mean, these sanctuary cities, I mean, they're bad all around, but here's some fact that people didn't know. He exposed that sanctuary cities are going out of their way to keep the 330,564 migrant children missing.
Oh.
These are the missing children. And we're not being helped at all by these sanctuary cities. They're going out of their way to make sure the children remain missing.
Wow.
So you can see the chart. The chart shows between February and July. I mean, you know, they've located some, but it's not a very high number.
Let me see if I can bring that up.
Truth Social.
Truth Social.
It was posted about 3-4 hours ago. It's like the third one down. 2 hours ago.
Why would they be fighting against that? That doesn't make any sense.
It sounds quite nefarious, don't you think?
Yeah.
You know, all the pedo stuff, you know, what do you call it? PDF stuff?
Yeah, PDF. Yeah. I call it Speedo. Speedo.
Yeah, I call it PDF.
All right, here we go. This is what you got here. It says,
there it is. There you go.
These are the missing children. Okay. So remaining. Wow.
Yeah, if you scroll down at the bottom, it shows you 8.5% located, and then they show you the drop in remaining, and then I mean, it's not really clear the stats here, but he's pointing it out that the sanctuary cities are a cancer all around, you know, in these blue cities. They're just not, they're dragging their feet for everything. I mean, what didn't Mamdani just pledge 1.9 billion for the migrant hotel?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to remember that story. I read that yesterday. So, you know, I thought we tightened that siphon. I thought we got rid of all that money. Where's he getting that money from?
Probably Hochul.
Really?
She's probably feeding him a whole bunch of money. I mean, she gave him $8 billion, so maybe some of that $8 billion is being spent there. I mean, why she bailed him out, I can't tell you. I mean, nothing would be happening if it weren't for that. And you know, here I'm looking at something on the screen. What's really interesting, they're talking about tomorrow in Michigan, and James Clyburn. He's with Haley Stevens. They showed Gretchen Whitmer with Haley Stevens, and they showed one of the other senators with Haley. So they are completely split. I mean, it's getting interesting now that we never saw that.
Yeah.
We never ever saw that before. They were all in on their one person, and these socialists are dividing them right down the center. I love it.
Yeah, and they're starting to eat their own too. This is gonna be fun to watch, huh? It's like you know, it's like watching the Mutual of Omaha when, you know, the lions are eating everybody and stuff, you know.
I don't know if you guys saw this one, but President Trump also posted this at about 11:30 this morning. Iranian leadership is unbelievably duplicitous. They ask for a meeting, some would say beg. Talks begin with more scheduled in the immediate future, and they say openly and proudly that they're not having any discussions, that nothing is being talked about, and they're only dealing with Oman. Then they go on to give their usual blather and say the Strait of Hormuz will be operated by their team when it's already completely controlled by the United States Navy, and our blockade, or as some say, the United States wall of steel. Nothing gets through to Iran unless we want it to, and nothing will get through unless a deal or total surrender. Now, that's a new thing. I haven't seen him say that. Have you? Total surrender? No. I mean, that's a different thing. He had said deal, but he hasn't been using the term total surrender. Now we're starting to see that. Whether Iran wants to admit it or not, we are, in fact, talking of a solution to a problem that they have caused for decades. It's very simple. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. He's controlling it all. Anybody telling you otherwise is either lying or they want Iran to win. So at this point,
did you see Clandestine's take on it? I just sent it to you. It was 5 hours ago. Did you see it? That was the thing I was going to show you, but it was 5 hours ago. He actually talks about that True Social tweet.
That particular
I don't know
one?
if you want to cover that.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Let me, I'm bringing it up, but I'm also looking for this button here. Where's this button? All right, so you can run with it so I can get a drink here.
Sure thing. All right. So Clandestine posted about 5 hours ago. He referenced that True Social post. He goes, I think Trump is repeating himself for a reason. I think these are space repetitions to drill this point home in the brains of the public. For those of us who pay attention, this is redundant, but for the disengaged everyday citizen, it's going to take a lot of reps spaced out over time. The public needs to be educated on what this situation is about, and Trump is making it clear for the public and the record that this is about Iran's rogue nuclear program. Once the broader public have swallowed that pill, then we can tell them who is responsible for Iran's nuclear program, which will, of course, lead back to the Obama administration, the Clinton Foundation, and Uranium One. Baby steps.
Like I said, I don't think a lot of people are ready for what has to happen and what more than likely will happen.
I'm ready.
And I believe like half the country is going to just ignore it. They just don't care. They just hate him. They hate us. They hate America so much that it just doesn't matter to them at all.
Well, football season, brother. Come on.
Oh yeah. We got some stuff to talk about. So after this commercial break, I'm going to bring on President Trump's
thank you.
His information. Thank you. His information today that he had at an Oval Office, the executive order, and then him taking the question. So it's very interesting. Very interesting. It's a long bit, but at least he explains a lot. Listen, you guys know I've been working with Chapter for quite some time. And what's very interesting is whenever you're looking at a whole lot of data and you want that data to actually make sense and be able to decipher it and put it all together in one package, sometimes it can be kind of overwhelming. And Medicare is exactly that way. And as someone myself who is 65 plus, I can confirm this. Keeping track of enrollment periods, understanding all your options, and making sure you're on the right plan takes too much time and energy. And between the Medicare scammers, the corrupt agents, and bloated insurance companies, it's easy to make mistakes that can cost you thousands of dollars. That's why I'm happy I work with the guys at Chapter, and guys and gals. They're actually honest and the only Medicare advisor that looks at every plan nationwide, and they can help you save an average of $1,100 a year or more. And conversely, if you want to look at some sort of like Cadillac plan, they can help you do that as well. They won't put anything in front of you, nothing at all, that you don't want. They won't push you to buy a plan. They won't push you to do any kind of change unless that's what you want. And all of their support, instead of like even using like a bunch of government people, it's completely free. So if you're turning 65 soon or having questions about your Medicare coverage, call them at 475-328-3545, like many here in the Fanfare family have already done. It'll help you get the most out of Medicare. Most people wish they just called sooner. And also you can just go to their website at askchapter.org/Barry to book a one-on-one consultation at no charge and no obligation. So I encourage you to do so. It doesn't cost you anything. It takes you about 15, 20 minutes. It's 100% free. So let's listen to President Trump in the Oval Office a little while ago today.
Thank you for all being here as we take a major new step to support our incredible military family, something that we've been working on for a long time. I guess you could say for decades. There's never been anything like this. Today, I'm signing an executive order to establish the first ever presidential military spouse commission. It'll be chaired by Jennifer Hegseth, the wife of, and highly respected wife, I may add, of Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, both here. I also want to congratulate the new executive director of the commission, Desiree. So where's Desiree? Where are you, Desiree? You do such a good job. Desiree Thompson-Sale, along with new commission member Christy Mullen, wife of Secretary of Homeland Security, Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen. These are outstanding people, everyone, male and female, outstanding. The commission will also include the spouses of our wonderful service secretaries, the spouses of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the spouses of their senior enlisted leaders. And we have some incredible talent. And I won't tell you these spouses, I've looked at educationally and every other way, they're amazing. We're also pleased to be joined by Secretary Hegseth and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane. Thank you very much, Dan. America cannot have the strongest military in the world without the love and devotion of our remarkable military spouses who make the extraordinary sacrifices for our country. They really are extraordinary. Many military spouses spend months separated from their loved ones while our heroes are deployed overseas. Military families also endure frequent moves and other unique challenges, and the challenges are legendary. They write books about them. This commission will provide recommendations for improving the quality of life for military spouses so that we can better support both our military families and the entire United States Armed Forces. The commission will develop suggestions to address particular challenges in housing, employment, healthcare, education, childcare, and just about everything else you can think of. We've never had this opportunity. We're doing it now because we've done a lot for our military. We love our military. Every day our administration is fighting to give our military families the support they dearly need and they deserve. As part of the great, big, beautiful bill, we provided hundreds of millions of dollars for military child care and improved housing on military bases. It's being built, much of it's being built right now. Last Christmas, every service member received a warrior dividend of $1,776. Think of that. I wonder where we got that number. It was actually $1,775. The number worked out to be 17. I said, if you add $1, we have 17. That was one of my genius ideas. We have 1776. But that was a great thing, and we've given it every member of our military hard-earned pay raise. We've also given the pay raise. The commission will help ensure we continue to give military spouses our very best so our military can continue to be the strongest military anywhere in the world, and we're proving that. As you know, we had a conflict with Venezuela, worked out very well, and we have a conflict with Iran, and that's working out very well, very, very well. So now I'd like to ask Jennifer Hegseth to say a few words, followed by Pete, General Kane, and then I will sign the executive order putting this into play. And it's an order that's long overdue as far as I'm concerned, like by decades. And we're going to do a real job with it. And Jennifer, if you will, please.
Well, Mr. President, you have been a champion for the military, and we are so grateful for that, and that continues today. And like you said, these are generational issues that are long overdue to address. And we have the most amazing women here who have decades of experience as military spouses themselves to take a look at it. There's really nothing we're going to find that they haven't experienced. And so between what they've experienced and what they know, we're going to really tackle these things. And I've spent the last year traveling around, meeting with military spouses and families around the world and around the country, and it's the same from Kentucky to Singapore. It's housing, it's healthcare, it's employment, it's childcare, it's education, and so we're going to take a look at all of those things. Even one of the women up here, I won't say who, but was a paramedic, and as they moved from state to state, she could not get the license. Switch to that state in time before you move again, before you PCS, and it makes it really difficult for these families to survive, let alone all the other sacrifices we're asking for them. So this is a big deal today. We're super grateful. Every time Pete travels around, Secretary Hegseth travels around talking to the troops, he tells them, the president has your back, and now the families know that you have their back too, and we are grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Great job. Thank you. How about you say something first, and
I
then we'll go,
can't
then
really
we'll go
top
back
that.
into the general. You're not going to top
I can't top that, Mr. President.
Give it a shot. You're not going to.
It's
good job.
It's true. Strong families equal strong formations. I mean, when you look at it from a military perspective as a secretary, our job is to make sure our troops are prepared and ready on behalf of the nation. And if your family's not taken care of, then it causes hesitations and complications for the warfighters up front. And so we say often, and we mean it, no soldier, no Marine, no member of the Joint Force serves alone. And so if we can address the issues of housing and make sure it's quality housing, make sure employment opportunities are maxed out, make sure child care is taken care of, make sure DOEA schools are the best in the world so that our military kids are being educated, the trade skills they might want to take the next chapter in life. If that warfighter knows that their family is good to go, they will go the extra mile, which is what our nation asks. So we're in for this. Is not one of those window dressing efforts. Jen's right. This entire group has mountains of experience, and they're raring to go to put it to use on behalf of the great Americans who serve our nation. And this is going to be full speed ahead to address every quality of life issue we can, which, Mr. President, you invested in the One Big Beautiful Bill. People don't know how much went into housing and into barracks and into pay. That's a down payment. And now with the $1.5 trillion, which we're working to get every dollar of, it's going to be a generational investment in barracks, in housing, in healthcare, in pay, in ways no commander-in-chief has ever done before. So, Mr. President, thank you for leading on this, and this commission's ready to go.
Well, thank you very much. You're doing a fantastic job. General, please.
Mr. President, Mrs. Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth, it's an honor for me to be here today at the launch of this commission. As we stand here now around the world, military service members are out doing our nation's business and ready to do what is asked of them. The foundation of American military readiness is the families, and the backstopping of all of that is the military spouses that serve behind them. Inevitably, every time somebody deploys, that refrigerator will break down, the car will break down. You think we're strong. American military spouses are 10 times stronger, and the lift that they carry is significant every single day. I want to thank this commission for the work that they're going to do to help improve military families' lives and military spouses' lives. It is a critical enabler for American warfighting capabilities. So to all of you here and all the work that went into putting this commission together, thank you. And Mr. President, we're honored to be here today.
Where will they be meeting when you have meetings? Because you're going to be having a lot of meetings. Do you know where you're going to be meeting?
Every month here at the White House.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
We can't do better than that.
Can't do better than that.
Use the Oval Office. Would anybody like to say anything? Maybe Desiree, you could start, and then if you want to say anything, great time to say it. Please,
Absolutely.
Desiree.
Well, I'll just be really short. It's a pleasure for me to serve as the executive director of this commission. I think it's a long time coming. It's a little bit of a pet project out of my office, simply because we have the Chief of Staff of the Air Force's wife that has been inspirational for this. She's a 41-year spouse. But collectively, this group has over 400 years of experience as an active duty military spouse. 400. And they've probably moved about 300 times. So if you can imagine that level of experience coming to this commission and solving real problems for the future of our military spouses and families, it's just an incredible thing that you're doing, President Trump, actually asking them to solve these problems and give you good recommendations, and we're happy to help them do that.
So, you know, we have Desiree's been with us for a long time, and she's directly and indirectly done what she's doing for a long, long time, covered numerous presidents, and she basically responds to the public when the public, they send things. Sometimes they send gifts. Actually, it amounts to millions of dollars in small money. And I said, well, what happens to that money? They send it back, or they do charitable work, but it's literally millions. They send it to me. I should be able to get it. She won't give it to me. I should be entitled to it. No, but they send it to me as just a gesture. But they write thousands and hundreds of thousands of letters, and she's got a staff that's all volunteer. And I have one question: how do I compare in terms of response with other presidents of the past?
No comparison, sir.
Is that good or bad?
No, it's good. Actually, it's very good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
We do okay?
So, you do great.
A little more than Sleepy Joe?
100%
A little bit more?
possible. Yes.
I think so. Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody have anything to say or a question or Statement? Would you like to make a statement? Yes, please.
Can I just say, I'm so excited. We've served with the Wills-Box now for a number of years, and I've seen them champion the enlisted corps. As the spouse of a senior enlisted leader, it's pretty easy for something amazing like this to happen and not include the enlisted corps, the senior enlisted leaders from the enlisted corps. It means the world to me that this started with them in mind. And I don't know if you remember, but a few years ago, my husband was serving in Alaska, and before you got on the plane, he asked your detail if he could ask you a question, and he asked if you would FaceTime me, and you did. And it meant the
for people
world.
I respect, I do that.
You're getting ready to get on the plane, and this E9, this enlisted command chief, asked you to FaceTime me, and you put your arm around him and you said, "He's doing a good job, take good care of him." And that picture has hung in his office since, and it just means the world to me that you highlight the enlisted corps every chance you get. And I love to tell people that story, that you took the time.
That's so nice. Thank you very much. Say hello. Okay. I remember. Please, anybody else?
Mr. President, this is Cindy Wilsbach, who's humble to
That's
her
right.
core and has had a significant role in putting this commission together. So I just want to highlight Cindy's work.
I would just like to say this is a red letter day for me. Just the honor that I feel to be surrounded by these spouses who, what I like to say is, we serve by oath or by vow. We didn't all raise our right hand to take an oath, but we began serving this great nation when we extended our left hand and said a vow to the person that we love that serves this country. And we represent people that are at the end of their careers. We've served decades, 20, 30, 40 years of service. This is about the legacy that we leave for the people that come after us, for these people who have children who are serving now, or for families that we say, we love you, we care about you, and we are the greatest military in the world, and part of that is taking care of our families, and that's what this commission will do.
And your husband is highly respected, I have to tell you that, by everybody. By everybody. Anybody over here? Yes, please.
Mr. President, on behalf of the Coast Guard, we cannot thank you enough for the amount of money that you have put into our organization. We are beyond excited about the new potentials that we have. We can just feel it. The whole Coast Guard, every time we go to visit our different units and our families, people are super excited.
Including 11 ice cutters, right?
Absolutely. I'll be talking. Yes.
It's going to be beautiful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They had one. Russia has 48. They had one. It was 50 years old. And you're going to soon be getting 11 brand new ones atop of the line. So that's a big.
Our people are very thrilled and super excited, very thankful to you. So thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good. Anybody else like to say? Last chance. That's it? So I'm going to sign this, and it's a real honor. And then if you like, you could ask questions of the people, and or me if you want. Okay, that's a good one. So I wouldn't want a bad one on this time. Some are good. You know, we rate them from 6 to 10. 6 is usually when I'm standing up holding it. You can't do a very good one, but that's a 10. So you deserve a 10 too. I think you should hold that, okay? Questions, please? Please.
On behalf of the press corps, thank you, ladies, for what you do for our service members in this country.
Right.
Mr. President, are the talks with Iran now off, and are airstrikes?
No, they're on. They're going on right now. It's an amazing thing. We have a little problem with Iran because we have many talks, and we'll say we have or we don't have. You know, we're straight about it. But they deny. But they're not denying it now. They just put out a statement not denying it. But for some reason, they, when they're talking, they don't like saying that they're talking. So I say, wait, we're in talks. Big deal. We're in talks. And they'll sometimes deny it, even though they spend hours and hours together talking. No, the talks are going along. We're going to hit them very hard yesterday, very, very hard, harder than any attack. I think I can say, General, from a point of knowledge, any attack since World War II. That's pretty big. And we were set to go, and they called. And in addition, Saudi Arabia called, And UAE called, Qatar called, got calls from numerous people. I don't want to use the word begging, but some were, in particular, Iran did not want to be hit. And they said, we want to talk. We want to talk about the Strait, but more importantly, from my standpoint, we want to talk about the denuclearization of Iran, because it's what it's all about. This is why I'm doing this. And it should have been done. It's now 50 years. We keep saying 47 years, but 3 years have gone by. But it's for 50 years that other presidents should have been doing or other countries. Didn't have to be us, but other countries. And nobody did it. And it was time, and we hit them hard with the B-2s more than a year ago now. And that knocked out their capability, their potential capability. And we've done a great job. But when we talk, we say we're talking. If we're not talking, when you ask me, no, we're not talking, I'll say it. But we are talking right now. We're talking. And we're talking at the request of Iran, backed by Saudi Arabia, backed by UAE, and backed by Qatar in particular, but others also. Many countries called. The leaders of many are friendly with a lot of them, almost all of them, one way or the other, and they all wanted to give this a last chance. This is a last chance. This is not something that, if it doesn't happen, this is a last chance for them to sign a good document. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani is requiring an ID to access his government-run grocery stores. What then is your message to Democrats who do not want to pass the Save America Act and ensure, ID at the ballot
When was
box?
this announced? This was just announced.
Yeah.
I heard about it. Yeah. Well, I wish they'd have an ID to access the voting booth. They don't want to access the voting booth with any identification. We want voter ID, and we want proof of citizenship. Well, he also had a thing where you had to have 2 different IDs to shovel snow during the winter, right? So that's a very friendly question. I like her. Who are you with?
One American News, sir.
Very good. All right. Good question. Very good. A good group.
Almost 20 GOP senators who have pledged to stay in D.C. to pass the Save America Act. So what's your message to the rest of the senators who are still on their summer recess?
I think there's nothing more important than the Save America Act. I think they should stay. They do what they want, but I think they should stay.
Mr. President,
I think it's so important to get it passed. Yeah.
Mr. President, where are the Iran talks, and what are your requirements?
Well, you'll find out today or tomorrow. I mean, they're going to go quickly, one way or the other. It's not very complex. We're talking about the Strait, the opening of the Strait, having it open literally by tomorrow, completely open. And that's phase 1. And phase 2 is we then will talk about the nuclear capacity, the nuclear, as we've been mentioned. Basically, it's, I think, the denuclearization of Iran. Has to happen. And that'll be the second phase. But the first phase is the opening of the Straits. The second phase will be the denuclearization, and that'll take a little while. But we're very strong on it. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and I have never changed in that. Yeah, please, in the back.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said that if Democrats get back into power, what is happening in Spain awaits America. What should voters in other countries with elections coming up soon take away from what's going on in Spain?
You have to be very careful with the whole socialist thing. I think in many cases it's much more than socialist. They skipped socialism. They went directly to communism. But when I saw what happened in Spain, I said, we had a version of that. You could say much worse. We allowed 25 million people under Joe Biden, the Democrats. We had open borders, and countries all over the world, almost all of them, sent people that they don't want into our country. And we've gotten a lot of them out, and we're getting more, including murders. And I always said 11,888, that was the number of murders. Many of them committed more than one murder. And we're going to be just like that if you put these lunatics in that I see running for office. We had an open border a year and a half ago. We had the worst border in the history of our country. Now we have the best border. We haven't had one person come in, and this is done by the Democrats, not by left-leaning people. They do charts. And they have, in 15 months, not one person has come in through our southern border illegally. Now, that's pretty amazing. I'd say maybe 10, maybe 15. They say none. And believe me, if they did, they'd love to report it. But you could go outside in those vast plazas where hundreds of thousands of people gathered when they stormed our country, just like they did, in my opinion, worse, just like they did to Spain. They stormed our country. And those borders are those big plazas that were built. They put concrete down. And now you look at them and there's grass growing in the cracks. Nobody comes up because they know they're not going to get through. And if they do get through, they're going to be taken out, brought back to their country. So we've done a fantastic job. You know, somebody said you did it too fast. I did it in 30 days, my first 30 days. Biden couldn't do it. He couldn't get it done. He tried at the end. He tried to do something because it was so overwhelming. It was so bad politically. But we did it in 30 days. Somebody said you should have taken a year and a half or 2 years completed because everyone forgets. Even my speechwriters, they say, sir, nobody wants to hear about the border anymore. You've done it. It's an incredible job you've done, but nobody wants to hear about it. And I should have taken a couple of years to do it because, and it actually was, the public has about a 2-year, people do, they have a 2-year memory for certain things. They have a 2-week memory. I may have gotten elected, certainly partially on the border, and because we did such a great job, it was a long time ago. I did it twice. I did it in 2016 when it was bad, but I did it this last time when it was really bad. It was, Steve, I would say many, many times worse than it was in 2016. 2016 was bad, but what we just had a year and a half ago, that was the worst border maybe in world history. There's not a third world country that would have allowed that to happen, with people coming in from prisons and people coming in from mental institutions and people forced in by government, because these are the people that those governments, those countries, I know them all, they didn't want. And they walked into a country totally unvetted, totally unchecked. Not anymore. Nobody comes in. Except if they come in legally. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yesterday you were...
Who are you with, please?
I'm with the Washington Examiner, sir.
Good. They're doing good. They've been very nice to me.
You were asked yesterday whether Representative Max Miller should resign from Congress over the allegations, and you said that you'd have a look at it. Have you thought about that? And also, do you think that
It's a very sad thing. I know Max. He's a good person. I mean, I always thought he was a very good person. And I'm going to let the families figure that out. You know, those families, I know they're working on it. It's a very sad thing, especially when you know somebody so well, to be going through that. But it's accusations, and I'm going to let them figure that out. Yeah, please.
President, did you sign off on Todd Lynch rescinding the anti-weaponization fund? And also, there are Democrats right now who say there's essentially 2 tax codes. There's the Trump family tax code and a normal people tax code. Why do you think that your family deserves some level of special exemption when it comes to the auditing of taxes?
Well, I'll go into that. First of all, I had a 10-year case that was settled until I announced I was running for office. It was a settled deal like I've been doing all my life. I've been audited every year for my entire life, which I have a lot of wealthy friends. They were never audited. To this day, they were never audited. I was audited. And my deal was settled. In writing, it was settled, subject to final approval. Then I announced I was running for president, and all they did was haunt me with it. They ended the settlement, and they went after me illegally. And they did a lot of bad things to me like they did to other people. And I was treated very unfairly by the IRS. It was weaponized against me. Think of it. I had a case this is a 10-year-old case. And it was settled. It was done. The case was over. I announced I'm running for president, and they terminated the settlement in Washington. And they went after me. And what they did here was frankly, if you talk about reparations or if you talk about payment, what they did to me, I had a very good case against them. So this was a case that was settled, that when I decided to run for president, right at the beginning, this is a long time, it's been going on for a long time, they terminated the settlement, which is something that never happened before. We have letters from the biggest law firms in Washington saying that this case is nonsense, just like the Russia was nonsense. They weaponized government. And so that's that, and most people understand that. On the fund, these were people that were treated Unbelievable. 22 suicides, more than that, I think. Look at Ashley. Look at so many other things that happened. These people were treated horribly. And this fund could have given them some solace. But, it happens to be very popular among many quarters. And I don't participate in that fund. I was certainly treated badly. I don't participate, but I thought it would be very fair for people that spent years in prison, people that were treated so badly, for in many cases people that did absolutely nothing wrong. So I view that fund as a positive, and a lot of Republicans do too, not so many Democrats. And it's not only for that, it's for other things too. People that have been treated unfairly, that have been weaponized by a corrupt government that we had with Obama and that we had with Biden. You had a corrupt government with both of them.
Mr. President, did you sign off on Todd Blanche rescinding
I didn't look at it. All I know is that Todd Blanche is great. He's going to do a great job. Everybody knows it. And I understand there's been a sign-off. But I don't know what they agreed. I think Todd Blanche agreed to reconfirm things that he's already said. And what he said was okay.
Can I ask,
Please go ahead.
Avenues that you'd have, are there other avenues you'd have supporters get paid potentially if it's not the anti-weaponization fund? Is there another way?
Who are you with?
I'm with MS Now, sir.
You who?
MS Now.
MS Now?
Yes, sir.
What a terrible show. They have the worst people on that show.
Are there other avenues that you want to see people
No,
paid?
there's no other avenues that I know about. Go ahead.
Mr. President, on the Iran talks,
MS Now. That's the failed MSDNC, right? The failed. They failed. They gave it a new name. You know why? Because nobody watched it. Go ahead. And fewer people are watching it now.
on the Iran talks, is there discussions, is Iran willing to return to a fully free navigation of the strait? Is that on the table?
Say it again differently.
Would Iran be willing to return to fully free navigation of the
It has to be. I'm not going to let them charge.
Would you
If anybody's going to charge, we'll charge. We're the one that has total. We have total control. You know, we have a thing called a blockade with his Navy. And that Navy is, they call it a wall of steel, the United States wall of steel. And no, there's not going to be charging. We're not talking about charging at all. There won't be charging. Yeah, please do that.
Mr. President, you said last week that illegal immigration...
Who are you with?
GB News. You said that illegal immigration is killing the UK. Nigel Farage today has proposed the use of the Royal Navy to combat small boats crossing the Channel. Do you think that European nations, including the UK, should be using their militaries to stop illegal immigration?
Look, you have to stop illegal immigration in Europe. I know Europe better than anybody, better than the people that run it. And I have great relationships. Two things are killing Europe. Number one is immigration. Number two is energy. Like the UK, when you look at the UK, they have one of the best energy fields in the world, North Sea oil. Now, I think your new prime minister is going to actually open up from what I hear, I spoke to him, and he sounded terrific on this subject. But you open it up, you'll be a wealthy country. You keep it closed, you're going to be a bankrupt country, which is what you are now. Essentially, you're a bankrupt country. You have one of the greatest energy fields, the North Sea oil, one of the greatest fields in the world. You know, the UK buys its energy from Norway, who gets the energy from the North Sea, from not as vibrant a part of the North Sea oil was. You're sitting on top of gold, better than gold, and you don't do anything with it. It doesn't work. You don't allow the oil companies in, and it doesn't work. And I spoke with your new prime minister. I was very impressed, and he sort of indicated to me, I said, look, you can be a wealthy country or a bankrupt country. You have your choice. Not every country has that choice. Almost no country has that choice. But in the case of the UK, Scotland, I'm talking about Scotland, right off the shore, in Aberdeen, Scotland. Aberdeen was the oil capital of Europe for years. And then one day the Liberals got in and they closed it. And your energy rates have quadrupled. You have among the highest energy prices in the world. You could cut them in half. You could give away free energy if you'd open up the North Sea. And it's good for another 500 years, maybe more, probably 1,000 years.
Has our new Prime Minister restored your faith in the leadership of Britain? Or has our new Prime Minister restored your faith in the leadership of Britain, or do you think it's too late?
Look, I think we're going to have a very good relationship. We'll see. I'm not going to tell him how to run his country. But I can tell you, immigration is an incredible problem for Europe. You're allowing people in that in many cases are not going to help you. I'm going to be nice. They're not going to help you. And the people that are there, people from your country, people from other countries that have been there for a long time and did a great job, beautiful place. Look, I love it. You know, my parents both came from Europe indirectly. So a German, Scot, and you know, it's like one of those things. It's very sad. When I see what's happening to Europe, it's very sad to me. But they have a problem with immigration. They have a problem with energy. You have windmills all over the place. Windmills, you lose your shirt. Any country with windmills is a loser, okay? You just have to look. If they have windmills, they're a loser.
You might want to feel sorry for the people standing behind President Trump, because believe it or not, he looks like he's comfortable talking right now. He's only halfway through beating up on the press here. Only halfway through. I was amazed when I watched this how long he went on. Yeah, I did the executive order, and then he spent an eternity going after the press, almost like his own little press conference. The poor people standing behind him now.
You lose money with windmills.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Go ahead. Who are you with?
John Fredericks Media.
Yeah, that's right.
Original name.
What was your name before?
John Fredericks.
Go ahead, John.
Mark. Two domestic questions, sir. The first one is Exxon and Chevron, integrated all U.S., just announced record profits second quarter. Unbelievable. For Exxon, for instance, 14 billion, highest they've had in over a decade. For Chevron, for the quarter, highest in history.
By 12 times.
On the backs.
You saw that?
Yes. I mean, it's unbelievable. On the backs.
I don't like it.
Workers paying higher gas.
They're making too much money. Okay. Based on a shortage, they're making too much money. I don't like it. And I should be the last one to say, because I'm a big free enterprise guy. Nobody bigger. And, you know, you're going to see oil when we're finished with Iran. You're going to see the prices drop through the floor. But they made too much money. Too much money. Chevron, too much money. ExxonMobil, too much money. When you look at one company where they made 12 times what they made the year before, they're going to give some of that back to the public. And they better cut the retail price, the consumer price. Too much money. You're surprised I'm saying it? I'll say it loud and clear. I'm not happy about it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just one. For those of us here that live in Washington, D.C. with our families, like I do, the renaissance of the city that you've been able to do in 18 months is incredible. Before you were here,
did you hear that, everybody? The renaissance of Washington, D.C. in 15, 16 months is incredible, and it is. It's clean, it's safe, and you haven't seen anything yet. We're replacing all of the grass that hasn't been replaced in the fields, all the beautiful fields where the grass is. You know, grass is like humans. It has a life. This grass hasn't been changed in 100 years. We're doing all the fields. We're doing most of the graffiti is moved. But the most important thing is it's been beautified. We did 78 monuments and fountains and waterfalls, and they went from being horrible, mostly graffitis, and most of them for 25 years never worked. They haven't worked. And it's a renaissance, like you use the word renaissance, but it's a renaissance. But the biggest thing is we have very little crime now. This was the crime capital, frankly, of the world. It was the most unsafe capital of any country in the world. Now it's one of the safest, and it's one of the safest places in the United States. And people are coming down. You see it, the tourism in Washington, everyone's safe now. Nobody's getting mugged, shot. We used to lose 3 people a week. Death. That's the least, it's 3 people in terms of death. 150 people a year were killed. They come down from Iowa, they come from Indiana. Mom, I'm looking at the Washington Monument. And they end up getting killed. You call their parents, I'm sorry. Doesn't happen anymore. We don't have that anymore. We're rough, but we don't have that anymore. Our military has been unbelievable, and they work very well with the D.C. police, but our military came in, the general people that we know so well, General, right? They don't play games, and we got the gangs out. We removed almost 5,000 people who were career criminals who came in with Biden with the open borders, a lot of them. And they're no longer here. We sent them back to their countries. You've got to say, have you ever seen such a transformation?
It's unbelievable if you live here. It's just, you don't want to go back.
And now you can walk to work, you can walk to the White House. The people in the White House, they tell me, sir, thank you. Or they're thanking me all the time. They used to have to take Uber, and the Uber would be robbed, okay? They weren't even saying. They'd go to a restaurant, and they'd feel safe at a restaurant, and then the restaurant would be robbed. Do you know the restaurants were all closing? And now you can't, if you're a restaurateur, you can't get a restaurant. You literally can't. The restaurants are booming. Crime is down 92%, maybe more. I want to get down 100%. You know, the greatest statistic, though, that you have is that 2% of the people create 91% of the crime. You can really handle that. And we moved almost 5,000 people out. They're criminals, career criminals. We moved that, or in some cases they're in jail. In some cases, they were so bad, they came in through Biden. They're so bad, we don't want to move them out. We want to put them in jails because we're afraid they're going to come back in somehow. So I appreciate you saying that.
Would you consider going to Congress if they come in and try to roll it back to do Democratic mayor?
And you had a mayor who's, I guess she's a communist. I mean, she says she's a socialist, but I guess she's a communist, basically what she says. But I have not met her yet. I look forward to meeting her. Would I federalize? Basically, you're saying federalize D.C. Yeah, well, I'm allowed to do that. Would I do it? If they want to, we took something that was in deep trouble. It was a graffiti-filled, crime-filled mess. We turned it into Shangri-La. We turned it into a great place. Look outside. Look what's happening. Look at the beautiful ballroom and military center. It's a military center, much more than, we have a drone port on top. Look at the grass in front of the White House being all replaced with the top stuff. The parks are all being replaced. It starts very soon, actually. We'll do one at a time. It's about 700 acres of parks. They're all going to have brand new, the best grass you can get. Scots. You know Scots? Scots Miracle-Gro. They're doing it. They do great grass. What can I tell you? I got to give them a plug because they did the White House for free. Sir, a friend of mine, a guy that, he's terrific. We'd like to give you new grass at the White House. I said, I'll take it. How much? He said, free. I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, this is at least the 5th time you've turned off airstrikes against Iran since April to negotiate. What is your message to the American people who are wondering what has changed this time? Why should it be any different?
Well, you don't know. I don't know. I think we're going to maybe get something, but I want to give them every last chance before decapitation. It's very tough to do what we have planned, still planned. We'll see what happens. But it's a very, very tough thing to do. I think I'm very proud of the fact that I'll give people a chance. This is a big move. To do an attack that big on a country, I'd rather not do it. Now, we've already, through lots of large attacks, but they were normal large. Hopefully they'll come to their senses, because what happened cannot have a nuclear weapon, but hopefully they'll come to their senses. So they called me and they said, please don't attack, we'll make a deal. That's the real truth, and everyone knows it. And who wouldn't call? And they found out through leaks and sleazebags, a lot of sleazebags, leakers. Leakers should be put in jail. They have to strengthen up the laws for leakers. But in this case, leakers helped because they said the severity of the attack, and Iran knew it. They knew what was coming. It was going to come last night, and it would have gone on for a long time, and there'd be essentially very little left. There'd be nothing left. And if I'm given a chance to let a lot of people live, I want to give that chance. So I'm under no time constraint. I don't happen to be running, but a lot of very good Republicans are running. And you have a sick ideology taking place right now that, hopefully they'll be defeated because they'll destroy the country if they ever take over. But this desk is like a blocking desk. No matter who gets in. If it's bad, I block. And I'm good at blocking. If it's bad, if it's stupid things like the things they want to do, we want to get rid of the U.S. Senate. I don't like a lot of Senate, just to be honest with you. I don't want to get rid of the Senate. We want to get rid of the Supreme Court. They want to put now 21 or 23 people, that's the real, on the Supreme Court, or get rid of it. They want to get rid of the presidency. They want to have an appointed executive running. That's a communist thing, you know. That's a communist thing. These are sick people. And, you know, I said it the other day, and it maybe doesn't sound that important, but when a country goes bad, like look at the blue cities. What do they have in common, aside from massive crime? Much more crime. The Republicans have very little crime. But what do the blue cities have in mind? And also you can say this with nations when they go bad. The blue cities have something in common: crime, high crime, vicious, violent crime. But what do they have in common? They're all dirty. They're filthy dirty. Their streets are dirty. Their streets smell. Their storefronts are broken. Their trees are all gross. Everything about the place is dirty. And I don't want to mention any specific city. It's really all of them. But you go into these cities that are blue, they're crime-ridden and they're filthy dirty. They're like Washington, D.C. was a year and a half ago, with graffiti all over the place, with crime all over the place, with people afraid to be here. You had to be ashamed of your capital. Some of the most beautiful buildings built in the real time. Like you look at the Supreme Court building and they put graffiti on it. The most beautiful columns I've ever seen. In fact, our columns are going to be nicer at the ballroom. I said, I want the Supreme Court, but better. But you look at those columns, and then you see graffiti on the side of the building. No artistry, just bad people. But the one thing they all have in common, crime, the two things, crime, but they're disgusting. They're filthy dirty. The streets are dirty. They have people lying all over the street doing you know what. They're all the same. And this is what we're going to put in it. Not going to happen in our country. Go ahead, please. Yeah, in the back.
When someone, me sir or there?
Go ahead.
When a group loses,
go.
I'm sorry.
He was very rude to you, right? Go ahead. Who are you with?
I'm with Real America's Voice, sir. Sir, when a group such as the Haitians lose their temporary protective status, how soon should they be bussed and flown out?
Well, we had a big victory in court on temporary, you know, the protective status. And I largely leave it up to my people. But we've had people here for many years and they were here temporarily. You know, we had people coming in and they've been here for many, many years. And they had a tragedy in their country. They had, sometimes it was storms, or it was, you know, it was hurricanes. And they come in and, you know, they're here for 12 years, 14 years. So something's got to be done. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, on the oil company, have you spoken to Jeanine Pirro about her decision to drop criminal
No, Jeanine Pirro made a mistake. There was vandalism. I just told you we did, I think, 78. One of the things was the reflecting pool. Hasn't worked since 1922 because it always leaked. It always leaked from 1922. You know, it's the largest, longest pool ever, all that. The concept is beautiful, but it always leaked because of the size, because of maintenance, whatever. But it was built in 1922, and from the day it was built, it leaked. Biden spent $58 million. Barack Hussein Obama spent much more than that. He said, I have an idea. Let's take the water from the Potomac. So they took the water from the Potomac, and it was putrid. It was putrid. It was a disaster. Biden was a disaster. I said, I'm going to get that fixed, along with Doug Burgum and Department of Interior. And we worked hard on that. Now, we worked hard on all 70. It's actually, I think, 81 now. You saw the new horses that just opened by the bridge with the gold. That was the way they were many years ago. Now they look better than they did many years ago. But these monuments look better than they did when they were originally built. Not just a little fix-up. We made them the way they were, plus. And everyone's so proud. The biggest, one of the bigger jobs was, not really the biggest, believe it or not, but one of the biggest was the reflecting pool. And we did a great job. We sandblasted the stone outside. It was granite, so it has a long life. we did a great job. We got very expensive material to put on top of the surface that always leaked because it was stone. It was a stone surface. Always leaked. And we put it on, and it was beautiful. Now, we have photographs or tapes, like moving cameras, right? We have them where people are on the side cutting it with a box knife. Was it? So now I'm not saying I was 100% thrilled with the contractor, but the contractor was rushing. We wanted to get it open for July 4th, and we got it done. But in addition, there was vandalism. Number one, look at the grass, where the grass was all knocked out with a very, very powerful ingredient that we know very well what it is. I'm not going to say the name because people get ideas. And they put a terrible phrase, I won't say that either, but a terrible phrase on a massive piece of grass that we had just replaced. Kill the grass. We had to replace the grass. A lot of grass. In addition, they took knives or cutters and they cut the material. It's material. And they put their hands and they pulled it. And there was also some maintenance things that we would have routinely fixed. But we had that up and it was perfect. And then you had the bubblers, which get rid of the what forms in the water. And that works great, but they turned it off because of the fight. Because it competed a little bit of noise during the fight. They turned it off. And it grows very rapidly in the water. But that actually works very well. And that's all. So now we're just about set to reopen it. And we had to replace cut areas where they cut it and ripped it. But there's a tape, and Jesse Waters, by the way, did a whole big thing on it. There's a tape that's out there that I posted on Truth, where you have people leaning over the side, the weakest part because of the flexibility. It moves. It's very complicated. It moves. And the softest part has to be flexible. And that's the stuff you can cut. And these guys knew what they were doing. And they cut all the way along the base. Cut, cut, cut. Now, when Janine looked at it, it was the day after the 4th of July with the largest fireworks display in the world. And the stuff was laying all over the pool, the fireworks, because they used the pool as one of the, and it was all over the pool. It was the day after, very shortly thereafter. But that was working beautifully, and it was vandalized. And if you look at the tape, now the tape isn't a great tape in the sense that it's a little hard to say who it exactly was. But it was people cutting this very expensive material, waterproofing material. Anyway, it looked beautiful. And then they cut it, and they vandalized. And we weren't necessarily thrilled with the contractor, but they did a job, and they were fixing any problems. But then it got carried away because the judge was extremely unfriendly to Janine. And frankly, I think she choked because the judge was really vicious. Instead of going after the people that did it, the judge went after her and went after her department. And I guess she choked. I don't know what the hell happened.
Are you reconsidering her role?
I don't know what. You don't. You're fake news. Don't ever talk again. You're fake news. One of the worst in the business. Fortunately, nobody watches you. But something happened. There was vandalism there, and there was some things from the contractor which we would fix. But it's almost complete, and when it opens, it's incredible. It's really incredible. But remember this: it leaked from 1922. It opened in 1922. They never solved the leak problem because it was stone, and the cracks with the stone. It's not stone is really not a waterproofing material. We essentially use a very high-grade swimming pool type material, which was my idea. I was very proud of that idea. By the way, I didn't know the contractor. Everyone said the contractor. I didn't know the contractor. But when it was completed, it was perfect. But then somebody went in and cut it, just like they did the grass. Nobody talks about the grass. The grass have helicopter pictures of what they did. Wasn't it 87? Right? Do you know what they did, right? Did you see what they did? Did you see what they wrote? What did they write?
87, or sorry, 8647.
That's right, 86-47. They 86 them, so it's 86-47. They didn't do 45. At least they left 45 out. But they, and massive letters on the grass, 86-47, and nobody talked about that. Was vandalism too. We had to replace all that grass. It was a tremendous amount of grass, because when you hit it with this poison, it's acid. It kills the grass no matter how. You can't even clean it, even if you got there right after. It's very powerful stuff. I know it well. So people did great damage to this thing because they're sick people. You know who's representing the man is a man from Crew, a sleazebag who's been suing me for my whole political, hasn't won, he's lost all the time. But Crew, do you know what Crew is? It's a third-rate operation that's supposed to be a charity, but it's not. They used it for political reasons. So we should be proud of our monuments, and we should be proud of our city. And you know, that was opened before they did the damage. It was opened. It never looked more beautiful. It looked like a mirror. And that's what it was supposed to be. It was a very dark color, because otherwise you don't see it, as a reflecting pool. And it looked beautiful. Well, it'll look just as beautiful. It'll be fixed and open over the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
Mr. President.
Who are you rooting for in Michigan?
One more, yeah.
Who are you rooting for in Michigan tomorrow, Mr. President?
Well, you have a very interesting group. Who I really voted for is Mike Rogers, because I think he's going to be a great senator. But you have a communist versus a socialist. That's the way I look at it. You have a communist versus a socialist. It looks like the communist is leading. We're talking about for the Democrat primary. But for the Republican, you have a very good man, and he should be able to win. Yeah. Okay, one more. Go on, in the back. Yeah, go ahead.
Lafayette Park.
Lafayette Park, it's great. Do we do a good job in Lafayette Park?
It's phenomenal.
So Lafayette Park is right across from the other side of the street, and I made a donation of $10 million. That was me, personally. And it's unbelievable. It was so dirty and so disgusting. Like everything liberal becomes dirty and disgusting. Socialism, liberalism, progressivism. You know, the word progressive is such a nice word. They love using it. But the radical left isn't letting them use that word anymore. But Lafayette Park is a large park. It was known as the gateway to the White House. And it was disgusting. The monument is beautiful, graffiti all over it. I won't say what was on the sidewalk, but horrible, 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 disgusting stuff. And not only did we fix it, we have military standing there watching it. And if anybody touches it, that was the one mistake with the reflecting pond. They hadn't put up the cameras yet. They had enough up because you see what's happening. But if they would have had them up, we would have had it would have been a lot easier. And I was disappointed with Jeanine Pirro, really disappointed with Jeanine Pirro. She folded like an umbrella, and people get away with things, and it's a disgrace. But we're very proud of Lafayette Park. Now we have a big decision to make. Do we take the pavers that are red, you know, the red brick pavers, and do we change them into a granite? It's a gray granite, they're beautiful, but they're not the original. So we're going to have to make that decision. You have a good sense of taste. What would you do? Huh?
Yes, change it.
You would change the red brick into the granite.
Heartbeat.
The granite is much stronger, holds up much better. Different color.
Legacy.
Change it. Okay.
Are you considering firing Pirro, Mr. President?
Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today's the MLB trade deadline, and there's been talk lately about a potential lockout next year. I think over salary cap concerns, proposed salary cap. Do you support a salary cap in the MLB, and what are your thoughts?
Well, we're going to talk about that at a different time. You know, it's a complex situation, but not too complex for me. Yeah, please. In the back.
What did you think of the Nationals trading Luis Garcia to the Yankees? And do you think Brian
Which
Cashman?
one?
Luis Garcia from the Washington Nationals to the New York Yankees. You're New York Yankees. And what do you think of the job, Brian?
Okay, so this is what I was saying. It got to the end here, and I don't know if this was planned or if he knew where he was going, but it kind of diverted from all the political stuff, and he makes a turn to sports.
Cashman's doing.
Well, I've known Brian Cashman for a long time. Look, he's done a good job. I think Randy Levine is great. He's a great executive. And by the way, the NIL or whatever it is, is very close to getting solved, college sports. And Randy Levine and Nick Saban and a whole group of people have done an unbelievable job. That was a case that should have been appealed by the NCAA, and they never appealed it. Whoever ran the NCAA, they never appealed it. The original case was thrown out by a judge that knew nothing about sports or college sports. And that case should have been appealed. They didn't appeal it. They didn't know. I think they forgot something happened. And college sports was, and is, in turmoil right now. Turmoil. And Randy Levine from the Yankees, the president of the Yankees, got together with a lot of people. We had it right here, 60 people that were in that world, including legal people. And from football, it was Nick Saban, who won 6 or 7 championships. Fantastic coach and very respected. And many other people, very, very respected. And we have a bipartisan deal as of right now. So we'll see what happens. They'll be voting on it soon. I hope they get it. I hope they get it done. Thank you all very much.
So I hope Judge Jeanine is still going to be part of the whole equation with the Trump administration. Obviously, he's really upset with her. Really upset, as he said. And then, as SV said, she had to come to the office at 4 p.m., which is, don't know, haven't heard anything yet, but he did say he's really upset with her. Like, okay. That doesn't bode well when you say that publicly like that. So I don't know. Maybe she's gone. We'll find out sooner than later. But it was interesting to me how he made the pivot just at the very end, which is what a lot of people will remember, and a lot of the reporters won't pay any attention to. And he made the pivot to sports and football. And so something happened today. And SV alluded to it. He's got a post here from Clandestine. I'm not sure, well, I'm pretty sure you guys didn't see this stuff that I'm going to show you. Aaron Rodgers, 4-time NFL MVP. In addition, he's won a Super Bowl champion as well, now plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers in what might be his 22nd or 23rd year. And a question came up about his retirement. So if you know anything about Aaron Rodgers, many of you may not, because you may not follow football, but he was very, very, very vocal during the whole jabademic. And in fact, all of the media who were political reporters all of a sudden became sports reporters and decided they were going to attack what Aaron Rodgers was saying. They were saying that he had no right to say what he said. He's a public figure. He should be encouraging everybody to go ahead and take the jab. He wouldn't do it, and pretty much became what they would say anti-vaxxer. And they couldn't control him, which is one of the problems they had with him. So I want to show you something before I get to the video. SB found this and put it up here. What you're going to see, let me play the video first, because the video first ties into what President Trump just said. But there's two things with what's going on here. First, we got the whole problem with the WNBA. So I'm not sure if you've been following that, because it's interesting that both these subjects are hotbeds for what President Trump has been talking about. He's been talking about it for quite some time, the whole Transformers, boys and women's sports, and it's almost like ESPN and the WNBA walked dead into a trap. And if you've been following anything regarding this, it has basically consumed the WNBA. Sophie Cunningham, the blondie that did the point and protected, I don't know how she's going to go moving forward, Caitlin Clark, she went out and was talking very vocally about keeping men out of women's sports. Well, that all blew up because the coach of the other night where she was playing, I showed it last night, she wore a jersey that said, we got to protect the trans kids. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But she stepped into that. So this happened today. This is Clay Travis who took over the Rush Limbaugh situation.
For a head-to-head basketball game between the defending WNBA champion Las Vegas Aces and a boys high school state title team of my choice. If the Aces beat my team, I will give them $10 million. I know you do have the $10 million, Clay. Why are you so willing to put it on the line here for this challenge to the WNBA?
Because the WNBA has right now a lot of coaches that are coming out, including in the last day or two, saying, hey, if a man identifies as a woman, he should be able to play in the WNBA. I think that is absolutely ludicrous. It's absurd. The WNBA commissioner has not spoken out in favor of Sophie Cunningham or even just in favor of basic rules. It's called the WNBA because it's the Women's Basketball Association there, right? If they are going to allow men to play, I think we should have an actual game, not NBA players against WNBA players, high school boys. Let me pick a team. I will put it on pay-per-view. We'll donate all the profits to Tunnel to Towers for wounded warriors, for the families out there that they're helping to take care of, first responders. You know Frank Siller. They do incredible work. We'll put it on pay-per-view. If the high school boys win, I will give them $10 million. If the WNBA team wins, I will give them $10 million. I think we would raise tens of millions of dollars for charity, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. If the WNBA really doesn't believe that men are that much better than women at basketball, then the champion of the WNBA should be able to beat a bunch of high school boys, Will. So far, they haven't responded. They always talk about how they want more money. This is more money for one basketball game than has ever been paid to win in the history of the sport.
All right. I wouldn't hold your breath.
No, I would not hold my breath. Now, it gets even worse because the woman who complained that Sophie Cunningham was being bad to the trans kids and that they should let boys play in girls' sports, well, somehow she didn't want them playing, well, where it would matter to her. Listen to this bunch of hypocrisy.
We had more women coaching college basketball before Title IX, after Title IX, when it became more important and more investment. That was code for.
And you got paid
lots of man's
more.
job. Got paid more.
Mm-hmm.
Became a man's job. And so to this day, we still don't have more women coaching in college basketball than we do men. So that same thing, apply that same thing when 2 years ago, we lost 7 WNBA coaches, right? They got fired because all of a sudden this money, became more, the WNBA blew up, valuations of franchises, right? In comes the NBA folks again, who had cast us aside for many years. In they come again, right? Now they want their franchises back and that sort of thing. It's more important again. And then we have more men. When we have NBA people.
Okay, so understand what she's saying. She's upset because more men came into the WNBA coaching positions. The men saw an opportunity, saw some money, and they decided they were going to basically boot the women out and begin coaching in the WNBA. She doesn't like that. We should get the men out of here. So she does understand that, she's at a disadvantage coaching against certain, people who have weenies. And she doesn't like it. Funny, she doesn't want that for her own players.
Becky Hammond being successful, could lead to that. But like you said, I have no problem with a larger pool. I would love for the NBA to have a larger pool for their head coach candidates and for them to be women of color, et cetera. We got to keep working.
It's not about color or sex. It's about who can win. That's why your league absolutely sucks. There's no other sports league where this drama just continues year after year with a bunch of black lesbians beating up on the little white girl and then having problems because it's insane. You either want to play games and win or you want to be a social activist league. You can't have it both ways. Most people get into sports so they can win, not because of the color of their skin.
I believe we need a task force for women of color, that we need to get on this right away, and we can't let this happen some version of the Rooney Rule, in addition to a rule that we put in a few years ago where we had to have a former player on our front of bench staff. We don't talk about that very much. I don't know that it's actually still an enforced rule. A lot of us have that anyway, but I think we need a combination of things to do better. And if people don't think that that's the right path, and they say the best person for the job, they're not looking around at history and history.
Whoa. See, the WNBA commissioner right now should fire her. They don't care about winning. You got people investing billions into this league, and it's being run by people who say it's more important that we have people that are female and black, and it shouldn't be meritorious. And she's the coach. That's insane. Absolutely crazy. So that happened there. So let's continue with the other thing that happened in the sport.
You've been very open about coming back for this year, last rodeo, and you talked about your wife saying, hey, have another year. Mike McCarthy being here, obviously a big deal. Can you tell us about the mindset of coming into your last season? Like, that's a real thing, it feels like, because is everything better? Is everything funner? Is everything more awesome? Like, how do you kind of view this year versus maybe the years of the past?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay.
All right, some of you guys who don't understand the significance of what just happened. Again, Aaron Rodgers, 4-time NFL MVP, obviously first ballot Hall of Famer, Super Bowl winning quarterback. Pat McAfee, arguably the biggest podcast in the world, also simultaneously broadcast on ESPN. Huge, huge, huge audience. And they bring on Aaron, and the first thing he says, I'll take the fifth. This isn't by accident. It is not by accident. This is where SB's post that he sent me from clandestine. I want to show you this. He said, this is big. Despite the Fauci hearing not getting much attention from the left-wing media, it still has been disseminated to the masses via social media, and now it has permeated into sports in a big way, which is one of the pillars of American culture. Told you, been telling you, once we turned into August, things were going to change. And here we are, just August 3rd, the first Monday of August, and bam, right out the gate, all this stuff seems to happen. So everybody's talking about boys playing girls sports. Now everybody's talking about what Fauci did. Oh, it gets better. I'll come back to clandestine's post, but you need to hear a little bit more of this.
Okay.
Gotta love that guy.
Okay.
Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
Hey, it's back, baby. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, 111
You got a pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times at the White House. What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah.
I thought you were I am science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And how much time did the network spend at that? How much time did they spend on my responses every week, on my vaccination status, on Taylor and Travis's wedding?
Listen to the crowd. This is in Pittsburgh Steelers football fans, not necessarily MAGA, not necessarily Republican. Football fans are all now cheering as he says this. And by the way, this cut went everywhere today. It was just completely viral as he completely eviscerates Anthony Fauci.
Did they do even a minute? Did they do even a minute on Tony Fauci?
No, I don't think I've heard anything.
I bet they didn't.
But on that note,
then there was another scandal this offseason too, involving a voter for MVP, for Coach of the Year. How much time did your network spend? Where's your camera? Did your network spend on that?
Our network.
I wish how much time did you spend?
And so off to the left is a bunch of other football players, and they said he started to talk about something in the sports writer world, and they're like, no, go keep going on Fauci. They're like, forget that story about the voter who wouldn't vote for the Hall of Fame or whatever. That's not what we want to hear. Tell us more about this Fauci stuff.
This is awesome. Go back to Fauci? Yeah. Go back to the coward Tony Fauci and science.
Hold on now.
Who's spending the entire time writing in his diary about how fun it is to be famous. You got to be kidding me.
Okay, so on that note,
what are you going to say about me now?
Debate him,
What are you going to say about me
No,
now?
I got no debate here. You had a 500.
No, seriously, what are they going to say about me now? Now that you can't talk about the COVID stuff because obviously it was made, in a lab in China. That's like not even questionable anymore. Tony,
I can't let you guys know how big this is. This isn't Barry's podcast. It's not Benny's podcast. It's not Ben Dykes. It's not Dan Bongino. This is Pat McAfee's show. This is Pat McAfee broadcasting also on ESPN at an NFL facility. And you can't muzzle this future Hall of Famer, and he's off into it. He is just ready to just rip him. This is way beyond any of us political podcasters. We don't have nearly the audience of Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee is even bigger, you could argue, than even Joe Rogan because of the fact that he also has his own show on ESPN at the same time. So now going into football season, you have him blasting this out, and it's everywhere. And it's just what we needed to turn the corner. What's his name? Clandestine says here, the truth has been broken containment. It's gone. There is no more containing this. And now even Disney captured ESPN is being used to broadcast what they used to consider dangerous content. You weren't able to talk about this. It was disinformation. It's everywhere. The entire world saw that cowardly little rat Fauci refused to answer questions for the American people. And now the COVID scam is becoming more and more ingrained in the collective consciousness. The Overton window has shifted. No, I'm going to disagree. The Overton window did not shift. It was broken. It was shattered. It is no longer in existence. The amount of people who heard that when it was live and the people who were hearing it rebroadcast. And now it's only acceptable. It's now becoming not only acceptable to dislike Fauci, it's becoming encouraged. That's a big turn. Now, even if you go against these people, you're going to commit media suicide. So you could always go after some little podcaster and you can take your high and mighty, stance up there. You're not going to take a swing at a top NFL player and the McAfee show. People are making plead the fifth jokes everywhere, even in non-political spaces. Imagine showing this clip to someone in 2020. It would scramble their brains. This just goes to show how far we have come in the ongoing informational, psychological, spiritual war. Truth eventually wins. And he continues.
Fauci is an absolute criminal. I'm on good terms with my family. I'm on good terms with my family. What are you going to say now? What are you going to say now?
I want to let you know, it's been a fun ride for you, I would assume, over the last couple.
It's been a great life and a great career. And it's nice.
All right, so now Pat is, he's trying to be a nice host. You got the stuff out about Fauci. Let's talk about your family that you've reconsoled with because they didn't like the fact of what you were doing, and you're recently married. Let's talk more about that. Aaron ain't done yet.
To be sitting on this side now, especially after that coward played the fifth over 100 times.
Okay.
I thought you had a part in there, Tony. Why couldn't you answer one question the entire time?
Okay, we got 4 minutes until the heart out.
Yeah, I got 4 more minutes. We can keep this shit going. I got at least 4 minutes.
Okay,
There's a lot of silence, but I will say this: I gotta give flowers to Stephen A. Smith, my old friend Stephen A., because he was man enough to actually admit and apologize to Kyrie Irving.
Yes,
so I got to give a shout out to my guy, Stephen A. You are not a coward. I appreciate you.
Okay, can we talk about, we'll wrap up that conversation.
Other than that, there's been a lot of silence, I feel like, like 19 seconds about one subject. Oh, don't talk about that. We can talk about Rex Ryan's foot fetish, but please don't talk about, anything else right now. Don't talk about, any scandals involved. Don't talk about, pop culture. Talk about Taylor and Travis's wedding. Yeah, what do the insiders know about that? But don't talk about, shit that actually has to do with our business or righting wrong.
Can we remind people? Can we remind people a little bit why you're doing all this? Can we remind people?
No, I don't care.
Okay, so now Pat's going to tell everybody and they obviously knew this was going to happen. Can we tell people why you're going after Fauci? And like I said earlier, they went after him. The entire sports liberal media went after him. And I'm interested to hear what Stephen A. Smith says as he mentioned Stephen A. He's like, you're even seeing it now. So the culture border has been completely obliterated. And now everybody is understanding this Fauci guy screwed us all over.
Okay, so in 2020, okay, we were there for all of this.
2021.
Sorry, 2021.
It really went down.
Okay, there was a 500-page report that Aaron looked into with many doctors about his body and said vaccination. Now, that became a talking point of COVID, I believe, around the entire globe. And the only reason why I know that is because I was
coming on the show every week.
I was called a murderer because I was platforming Aaron Rodgers, who was making the decision that was best for himself. So as soon as I see all this start happening with Fauci, I knew that, boy, you were certainly having a time because your name was slandered. You were called a murderer. You were called a lot of things.
I was endangering my teammates and this and that. Now look what happened. We talked about they suppressed early treatments. They lied about where it came.
See, this isn't some newscast. And he's just putting it all out there. They suppressed the information. They did this. They did the gain of, I can't overstate how big this is. And you can tell how big it is because of the tight lips that you'll see in the liberal media. You won't see any of them talking about it because they can't put this genie back in the bottle. And the NFL, I don't know how the NFL is going to react. I don't know how Disney's going to react. This was broadcast live on ESPN.
From Tony Fauci's writing in his journal about, I don't want to, create any vaccine hesitancy if I tell them what the actual stats are. How many papers have been written? How many McCulloughs and Malones and all the great doctors out there who actually did,
He mentioned McCullough and Malone. The guy knew his stuff. He knew back then, I'm a professional athlete. I am not putting this crap in my body. I get paid way too much money. My body is my weapon. He had his Achilles heel rupture like 2 years ago, and they made fun of him. They just trashed him completely, and now he's got the comeuppance.
Treatment on the front end and repurposed drugs that are the safest profiles in the world. But no, Tony Fauci pushing his medicine just like he did back in the 80s. And now, when you have an auto pen pardon,
hey Jay, you know what happened.
He went to the auto pen. Oh my! I'm surprised that the network just didn't go dark. I'm surprised that they just didn't go cut it.
You have an auto pen pardon, but and you can't answer one question.
Hey, now real quick,
not even your name. Come on. What do we do?
Can we do this real
and
quick?
How much time did the network spend on that?
Hey, can we do something for you real quick?
How much time?
Hey, can we do something for you real quick?
Yeah.
Hey, way to stand on your truth throughout the entirety of that thing.
Oh,
honestly.
I feel great about it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you should. I feel great about it.
Congratulations.
I told you I'd be on the right side of history when I had that mustache that we were in New York.
Yeah, but you had
that Halloween party, though, that killed a lot of people, remember? You had that Halloween party.
Oh, yeah. We were a 10,000 square foot warehouse with 21 people, and, the I Am Science says 6 foot of distancing. That'll be a good thing. If we can scare them enough, they'll probably take this vaccine that's had 0 trials done for it. You have no idea what the consequences are. There's no informed consent. You can't even look at the insert to know what you're doing. They're not even, pulling the plunger back to make sure that they got it in the right spot in the arm. Like, what are we even talking about here? The insanity. I sat here amongst a lot of actually brave Americans who avoided the $1 trillion propaganda campaign that was hijacked on the American public. And look at us.
I want you to imagine right now, you're a Disney executive. And you're like, what do we do? Oh, we can't pull the plug on Pat. His show's too big. We pay him $60 million. Oh, what do we do? Oh, gosh. And then the NFL's online. Hey, the NFL's on line one. We can't touch it. We finally have somebody bigger than Fauci. We have somebody who has a much bigger megaphone than any of the CNNs or MSNBCs or any. They went to the top. and he blasted all this out. I mean, just blasted it all out. And the fans back there like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. That exemplified to me what I've been saying to you guys for months. I didn't know this was going to happen. I had no idea that when I kept telling you, guys, watch what happens as we turn the calendar to August. You guys can go back and look at my old shows. I was probably the only person saying it. I'm like, the eyes are going to shift. We're going to be looking at football. And I had no idea that Aaron Rodgers was going to come out here and nuke the liberals. Now game on. Now they're going to be, I'm sure one of these guys is going to come out and talk about the socialists. It's going to be, they can't stop it. And the NFL can't stop them. Obviously, here's a Hall of Fame soon quarterback, and the floodgates are now open. We now have the opportunity to completely say everything we couldn't say for quite some time. I don't have Pat's platform. I definitely don't have Aaron Rodgers' platform, but I can tell you, and you'll start seeing it, people are going to be talking about this and everything else. Go to hell with your boys and girls sports. That's not going to happen. All of it. It's done. And I knew it was going to happen as soon as football season. A lot of people would text me or email me like, Barry, how can you be so sure? Because you got people who were affected, who have big platforms, who have too much to lose to have the government and the liberal media mandating what they should or shouldn't do. Game over. And so you tell me what you just heard. If you guys don't know football, maybe go look up and see how big this is. And those of you who do know football, tell me how the liberals are going to put that genie back in the box, even after RFK Jr. crushed Dana Bash last night. Whew. Great time to be alive. That's why I'm so psyched. I am so pumped. What'd you think?
Aaron Rodgers, he's so base, man. I love it. I mean, they've been giving him crap for years, and this is like vindication time for him.
Oh
for
my
sure.
gosh. I bet you he won't get invited on too many other shows.
Especially The View.
Definitely not The View or anything like that. He doesn't have one F to give.
Or do I, man?
Yeah. So share that. Let people know about that, because that is somebody. Wait a second. Somebody said, asked me, look at this comment. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. What is this truth teller's name? I don't follow football. He is a rock star. His name is Aaron Rodgers. He is the quarterback for now the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was the quarterback for the Jets, and quarterback for where he really started was with the Green Bay Packers. Like I said, fourth time. His credibility is beyond reproach. 4-time NFL MVP, Super Bowl ring, certain Hall of Famer. So they can't stop it.
What a resume. What a resume. Awesome.
What a resume. But a bigger resume than any of these liberal nuts on television. That's
all right. Let's go to cut number 9, Barry. This is worthy. So remember now, all these countries, these are great countries, right? Okay.
Okay, what you got here? What's this?
Breaking news. The Trump DOJ just unveiled the largest denaturalization surge in department history, and it just filed to revoke the citizenship of the fraudsters and criminals, because you know how I'm into that, from the following countries. Here we go. Pakistan, India, Haiti. Oh, that's a great place. Moldova, Mexico, Colombia, our poor children in Nigeria, Liberia, Ghana, Jamaica, Taiwan, Honduras, Cameroon, Jordan, Cuba, El Salvador, and Sweden.
Wow.
Yeah, Todd Blanche says there's a little bit more at the bottom. He was saying that this is just the beginning. Yes.
It says represent the largest coordinated denaturalization in department history. And it's only the beginning. The Justice Department will continue to use every tool available. Wow.
I voted for that.
It's coming in a flood at this point. And I don't think these people are ready for it. Tomorrow would be interesting to see if the socialist Muslim guy ends up getting the Democrat nomination. They're in trouble. They got no money. They're getting taken over. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, they're broke. All right, check out cut number 8. I don't know if you knew this. This is a really interesting story. It just came out from OSINT Defender about some cryptocurrency stuff. So, okay, let's set it up here. A FBI supervisory special agent identified by the Justice Department as Patrick Yarok has been arrested and charged with interstate transportation of stolen goods and receipt of stolen goods after he voluntarily disclosed to investigators that he had transferred nearly 1 million from cryptocurrency accounts tied to an adversarial nation, reported to be Russia, into his personal cryptocurrency wallet. Sources familiar with the matter tell NBC News. Yarok told investigators he had become frustrated the FBI could not or would not act against adversarial cryptocurrency accounts, adding that he was upset he could not do more to disrupt cryptocurrency use by an adversarial nation such as Russia. According to an FBI affidavit, Yarok said that he went into the FBI systems and found keys needed to transfer money from wallets to himself with a total value of all transfer funds equating to about $925 million.
Crazy.
This is insane. What the?
I mean, I love the term. If there's a little bit of echo, because my headset just
I just
Kaputski.
Okay.
It's interesting because it says he volunteered.
Yes, like he sometimes whistleblowers do those kind of things, right? I mean, I'm just curious, why is this happening? I mean, this is cash is
because
right?
everybody has been saying that nothing is happening, nothing at all is happening, and now we're finding out that stuff is indeed happening. So,
yeah,
it is. All right, so I'm going to do super chats and get out of here. Go home. It's already
all right.
8
Everybody
o'clock.
have a good night. See you later, guys.
Thank you, sir. Hold on. Let me go ahead and turn that down so it doesn't echo. We talked out of my headset. So much going on. So much happening right now. I hope you guys can see that. And boy, that made my day when I saw Aaron Rodgers just going out there and blasting these people. Perfect. All right, let me do super chats, and then we'll get going from here. 1 second. There we go. Everything's lined up. Well, it was lined up. What just happened? Wait 1 second. And here we go. All right. Says, thank you, Barry, for your information you give every day. Watching from the Netherlands. Wow, long distance. Love President Trump. Wishing he was our president. Wow, thank you very much. Long distance. Pekovsky, fits too hot. The hat too hot to wear it being because of work. The hat is too hot. Hat fits, but too hot to wear it. Yeah, it'll be better in the fall, that's for sure. Choose public executions for reselling groceries. Yeah, you own it. How can you not resell it if you want it? Raven Kirkendall isn't requiring an ID to shop racist and sexist. Yep, should be considered. And I don't know how are women going to be able to eat because they can't get the ID and everything. Chiosop again, get ready for those who welcome the communists into the big tent to start distancing themselves and making believe they don't know any communists. Or I never did. They'll do the Peter thing 3 times. Oh, I was never for that kind of stuff. Right. Alec, thank you. Fazul, thank you. New York City grocery can't buy or sell without a mark. Does seem like that, doesn't it? Jay Smith, will Mamdani store sell pork? Oh my God. I didn't even think about that. Will his store sell pork? Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Let me see here. Alice, we can't let our guard down. Nope, not at all. Keep pushing, stomp them. Vielka, Mamdani won't allow people to resell goods they bought, but the immigrants are selling stolen goods. Great point. Great point. Alec, Mamdani stakes are right out of the Soviet playbook. They called resale scalping, and people went to prison for it. Yep, they know exactly what they're going to be doing. born on the 4th. Ironic how socialist Rosie O'Donnell and her army of hypocrites love capitalizing on Trump for their own benefit. She's done that for years. Alec Trump meeting with Xi will cause Taiwanese and Cuban sphincters to tighten. Hugely. Absolutely. John Robinson, great shows lately. Thanks for you and crew. Oh yeah, Democrats suck at everything they do. Go MAGA. We need to win everything. Vote. Thank you very much. Thank you for the encouragement. Al Phelps, thank you. Vielka, I don't get it. The Dems are skillfully evil, but are getting their lunch eaten by DSA. I don't think they prepared themselves for what was about to happen. Ronaldo, Barry, I figured out what Trump is doing with Iran. He's playing red light, green light, like when we were kids. Well, SB, he wasn't able to verify it yet, but what he said is, looks like they may have launched some more drones tonight. And if they did do that, whew, boy, feel sorry for them. Tania, Barry, can you play Nessun Dorma on tomorrow's show? Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Alec, I wish some journalists on CNN would ask a disappointed establishment Democrat who would they prefer, communist or MAGA. Alec again, thank you. Pete Hegseth is the first Secretary of War and Defense in my lifetime that's acting like one. God bless our men and women who lay everything on the line for us. Indeed. Chiosap, he is pissed that Piro folded, the women fold. Is that why? Oh, they're talking about Aaron Rodgers right now. Yeah, I wonder if I can bring that up. Hold on.
Said of coming into your last season.
No,
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay.
Okay. Like
Gotta love that guy.
Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
Hey, it's back,
Are
baby.
you kidding me?
Yeah, 111
You got a
times.
pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times?
Yeah.
What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science. I told you I'd be on the right side of history.
Laura, it looks like he is
won't let
on
it
the
go.
right side of history. You remember Aaron Rodgers, and I looked this up today because I thought I saw this. He was fined for going to a Halloween party with 18 teammates who were vaccinated. He wasn't. Now it turns out, I mean, but think about that. Think about the science of that. If 18 of them are vaccinated and he's not, what difference does it make? They're all fine, right? Turns out they weren't, right? They were just as susceptible to COVID as he was.
What they did,
I'm telling you, I saw that pop up on the screen, and I'm like, it's big, big, big news. So let's continue, but that's big. Yes, he is pissed that Piro folded. Absolutely. John Robinson, more people are now not ashamed to get on the Trump train as we get closer 93 days. And if stuff like you just saw with Aaron Rodgers is going to help people to no longer feel shame, no longer be embarrassed, put it out there. I mean, if this guy could go on national television and not give one F what people think, yeah, things have changed big time. Fagoski, thank you. Chiosop, thank you. Smell that? It smells like torch gnome Fauci. Oh, that's a good one. He torch gnome Fauci. And Neil, Barry, thank you. I was talking the other day to a high school kid pissed after watching the Fauci hearing. The young in school talking. Thanks for keeping us well entertained and informed. God bless you. God bless you, and thank you very much. It's changed. The tide has turned. I think all this stuff with the commie-crats is just going to get worse for them. Just watch. Just watch. See what happens. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Thank you.
you.